please.
All right, so this morning, we're gonna open the Board of Finance meeting, 8:30, and after that, we will start the regular meeting of the DuBois County Board of Commissioners. So if the treasurer would like to come up and approach, we'll get the meeting started. All right. Mr. Schneider, you like to do reorganization to get us started?
Sure. For the 2024 year, we need to elect a slate of officers to head up the Board of Finance. I will open the nominations either to re-elect the existing slate or the outgoing slate, or do it piecemeal, all serve time.
I'm satisfied to keep the board as it is. Any opposition?
No.
And just for the record, I believe that I'm the president of that board. Mr. Grolick is something. Yeah, the minutes.
Oh, I got it. President, yeah, Craig is the secretary.
Okay, and Mr. Grolick, the treasurer, is the secretary. We good with that? Call for the vote.
Okay. Nominations for the same slate of officers for this year. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Congratulations.
Okay, Mr. Grolick, let's need your signature from
He keeps the minutes. I just keep the book.
okay.
All right.
So, we have the minutes from January 17th of 2023. Has everybody had a chance to review those? I'll move that we approve those minutes.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. Generally, the next part of the business is the treasurer giving the annual report.
All right. Okay, I can say that I'm a little bit more confident this year than I was last year, since I think last year maybe my fourth day into this, and I obviously was a little over my head. But a lot more prepared this year. So one thing that I come to find out is the investment policy that we have is set to expire January the 18th of 2024. And I don't know the policy that allows us to extend the years. Are you familiar with that at all?
No, I would say if we discuss it today and we don't make any amendments, we can probably
Renew the year.
agree to continue on with that.
Okay, we will do that. Okay, fantastic. All right. So what I looked at last year from what I handed you was, I felt like a lot of paperwork last year that was unorganized. So I tried to simplify things this year compared to last year. So the colored chart is more of a synopsis of what our interest was that we earned from all of 2023, and the breakdown per account, per bank. So it's been obviously interest rate environment that really worked out well for us. So you can look through this and see all the interest, whether it's a regular account or CD or money market. A lot of information here. So I've tried to put information from years past as well, so we can look at and really do a good comparison when you're looking at that.
So what are these numbers for, like in January, was it GAB regular account, 16,036, what is that?
That is, so we have with GAB, our regular accounts, we have, if you go to the bottom of that page as well, it says yearly interest GAB. So we have a general account. We also have an excise account and a payroll. And those are three accounts that we earned interest on. So for the month, we earned $16,000, referring to January. For the month of January, we earned $16,000 worth of interest for those three accounts. And then February, March, April, May, June will be the same way. And rates continued to rise at that time. Along with, now May was nearly 71,000. We were collecting taxes as well, so our money was higher then as well.
So what is the monthly total where it says 2,390,000?
That is yearly. That is the amount of interest that we
Oh,
earn.
okay. I'm not following you. Okay, so you're saying I saw the 2023 total interest total versus this year's total. I wasn't looking at your chart properly.
Okay.
I apologize.
Okay,
I wasn't
no worries.
looking it up.
Okay,
So, and basically, we made 4 times the money in 23 than we did in 22.
that's correct.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to show.
Got it. No, it shows it very well. I wasn't following
Okay.
it first.
All right. So, and at the bottom of that as well shows the interest that we have at GAB in 2022. You know, the general is 90,000, excise is 747, payroll 8,400, and then in 23 was a lot more, as you can see. So it really, it is the interest rates are really great right now, and they continue to be. I was doing research on MSNBC, and it says everything seems like the rates will be steady in 2024, and but it is likely the interest rate going up is likely coming to an end. So they feel like rates are going to just more or less stay for 2024, and that should be okay. But also the breakdown of the other pages that you have, the investment holdings year end, that's all in there as well. The investment holdings year end, that's the CDs that we currently had at December the 31st, 2023, along with the money that we have with the money market at Spring Valley.
Sandy, so the way that this would affect the county's budgeting going forward, the council wouldn't have been able to take into account that we would earn 4 times as much interest this year than we did the year before. So does this change?
You just have more money in surplus.
I didn't know if this changed how budgeting will be done this year because we had more money than we expected, or does it not work
When
out?
I did budgeting though, I went to Craig and asked him what he thought, so we kind of took what we had at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's estimated.
It's all estimated.
Okay.
That helps keep county general a little healthier when we get more than we thought.
With our general checking ledger, is that something that was negotiated up to, or, I mean, apparently we're earning more there, so they just automatically give you a better rate there when the market improves, or can you
Correct.
negotiate that?
Yes, when the market improves, that improves as well. It's not as our money market changes weekly, but the the general checking does not change all that often.
Anybody have any questions on the?
I know it's a lot of information to look at now, but the best thing is if you see it all and you want to come and talk to me about it, I am more happy to explain things at another time.
And we can have Board of Finance meetings as often as we need to. So if there was something that was brought up you wanted to discuss publicly, we can do that as well at any time. Okay, it looks like on the final page you have the 2-year-old checks. These are these ones that you've already quieted back in, it says?
Correct.
So these have aged out. We've made attempts to find the folks. It hasn't happened, and it's $500 has gone back to county general.
That's correct.
And you started the meeting by stating the investment policy is changing or is expiring in 2 days.
That's correct.
Can you give us that, and we'll just give it a brief
Yes.
response, please?
I will give this to you. It's a pretty general
Thank you.
investment policy that we've had. It talks about objective and general philosophy, safety, liquidity, yield, return. That's all what we're after. Bidding process, competitive selection. And that's usually how, when we do interest rates with CDs, that's what we do. We go by what the best rate is. I try to do it the same way every time so that there's no manipulation in any way. That's not a part of it, so.
So how about this, for the board, if it's okay, we'll ask the secretary, Mr. Grolick, to update the date on the policy expiration. We'll just move it up until end of January of next year. And we can approve it based on that change. Does that sound, or we'll have to see it first? I think the main thing I take from our investment policy, and this used to be hammered into me at all the treasurer meetings, is safety. We don't gamble with the money. We don't do anything that we're gonna be able to lose money.
Right.
So safety is the number one concern, protect what we have, and after that, once it's really safe, then try to earn on.
Right.
And I think that's just kind of reiterated here.
I'm good.
Okay, so I'll move that we approve the Board of Finance or DuBois County investment policy, pending the one change of making it valid through January 30th of 2025.
Okay.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Anything from the treasurer? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Okay, thank you very much.
Anybody else have anything for the board's business today? Anything from you, anything else?
No, like I said, I think we feel like rates will stay steady, so we're hoping for another 2.2 of interest again. That would be a success.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah,
And then, do you need this copy back?
I do not. I have a copy here.
Okay.
So.
Do you need anyone to sign anything on?
We've approved it for the
Okay.
minutes, and I think the secretary can sign it for the record.
Okay,
I will do that.
do you want it back?
I do not.
Okay.
Nobody needs it?
Okay.
All right, we'll close the Board of Finance meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, it's 8:45. It's time to begin the DuBois County Board of Commissioners meeting for January 16th, 2024. We have a quorum present. We'll begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, has the board had an opportunity to review the payroll,
Yes, sir.
minutes, and claims?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'll move first that we approve the payroll as presented.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries, payroll is approved. Any changes to the minutes?
No.
All in favor of, I'll move to approve, all in favor? Or I guess we need to have a second. I'm
I'll
sorry, I'm getting
second.
ahead of myself. Okay, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries, and then we have the claims. I'll move that we approve.
I'll second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay. We also have the treasurer's report and the clerk's report that were handed out. Anybody have any comments or concerns on those?
No.
Okay. Let's note that we have reviewed those. We have a mitigation plan contract. Is that something you can? Tammy, hello?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm here to present, I've got a copy for everybody, but then I have the one that needs to be signed. And I also put a meeting notice. So if you are willing to come, you're welcome to come to this meeting. Chad, you got a notice already probably, just because you're the president, but you guys are welcome to come to this meeting. Greg, and I think you have a copy as well.
Thank you very much.
So this is a contract for us to have our multi-mitigation plan updated with the federal government. It's a grant for $20,304. And then Du Bois County is responsible for 25% in-kind match, which basically that is anyone that is gonna participate in this update, their hours that they input count towards that match. So we don't actually physically pay dollars out. We're not gonna write a check for 6,000, 67, 68. We're gonna use our hours served. So anyone that participates, it's like $25 an hour, so that knocks those dollars down. And any work that Narissa and I do on it, we get to count that as well. Our time, of course, is half of that, but we're already doing a very good job of getting the dollars down. But this contract has to be signed, and based on Greg's recommendation, it is preferred that it is signed by the president of the commissioners, with the auditor signing off on it as well. And it will get our plan written. So we will do the meetings, which you have the meeting notice. We have 2 meetings that are public notices. Everyone is welcome to come. And the idea of the mitigation plan is that you give us ideas that you want to see happen in the county to mitigate a disaster. So one thing would be, an example would be sirens. Another would be burying the electric lines. These are just samples of some of the things. The plan already has, I believe it's 5 pages of mitigation ideas, but we have to update it every 5 years. So that's what this basically is, and I just need signature from you, Chad and Sandy, to proceed. Our first meeting is January 31st, so.
The neat thing about it, and it runs the same way as it did 5 years ago. Huntingburg will participate first, and
Yes,
everybody will give their thoughts.
and schools are included this time. A lot of new things are included. Dam owners, so I didn't realize, but we have 2 owner of dams, and they have to come to these now. Well, they don't have to, but if they want to be included for grants. So this is a grant opportunity for everybody in Du Bois County, basically, that participates. So.
What qualifies as a dam owner?
I don't know.
Just any little
No, it's a large, like one of it's called, I believe, Carmichael Dam. I don't know if you're familiar with it or not.
Who's the other one?
It's the Schnellville Conservation. They're large areas, and they
Yeah.
qualify. So
And I think that's anything over 20 foot tall.
see, I'm not even sure on that because they were never included in past years. So
There's several stipulations on what makes it a high intensity dam. So it's if a dam would fail, people's lives. So that's what it's for.
So like Huntingburg Conservation probably wouldn't
What
matter.
it was before we lowered it.
Right,
yeah, right.
but now there's no life.
And like Patoka Dam is included in that as well, but already with the federal government, so they probably won't be here to participate in this, but they would qualify for grants if they wanted them because they're federal government. So
Not included in that?
not in this. It's not.
Would be.
It's not here.
I don't know.
But city is
I
being.
wonder what the city's
The
probably, it's probably
city
the
will
city
be
lake.
there. They're within the city, so they will represent.
That's probably why
for
it's
that.
not.
So anyway, that is why I'm here.
I move that we approve signing the agreement as part of the mitigation plan contract.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And everyone has a copy exactly of what he's signing off on.
Sandra?
Thank you very much. All right, guys, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up we have a maintenance agreement that the recorder's office has brought over for a 1-year maintenance agreement. It's for an HP XL 3800 SN. There is a fact sheet on it here. It appears that it's for a 12-month term. and get billed monthly on it. So if you'd like to review it, there you go. And then we can sign off on it.
Was this the charge for coffee?
I believe so, yes. So units with limited use get a smaller bill.
A lot of it's coffee.
I think this is large format, right? It's a
Oh,
big
it's
thing, but they're not going to be.
They're your rolls.
I'm thinking half by 11 sheet.
No, they're talking flats.
Okay, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
But even our general one with your business machine, then you have, there's thresholds when you get so many, you pay per copy. Any issues with the agreement?
No.
I'll move that we recorder's office. Correct.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Would you like that? You're gonna-
Yeah, because I don't know anything about it, so.
So we have about 5 minutes until the park bid opening, so we can look at some miscellaneous items. All right, so we did get transition meeting minutes from Clark Dietz, so those look like those were in pretty good shape. The sewer district is ongoing, it's moving forward, we're still working to get that done. When is the IDEM meeting?
It is,
Next week?
I think so, Thursday.
So there's a.
Yeah, the item public hearing 6 to 7 p.m. at CETO, next Thursday.
Okay, so that will be an opportunity for the public to make comments to IDEM about the sewer district formation. We're not going to be answering any questions, but there will be members of the county leadership there and from Clark Dietz if people wanted to ask any questions. So another item that was brought up, and I know this board has brought it up, the Board of Commissioners brought it up especially 20 years ago, maybe longer, about county zoning. So I was at a Du Bois Strong meeting recently, and the board discussed it there a little bit, and the city had a economic development forum meeting last week at the Astra. I talked to some people there about housing and how that is, how that would work in the county. And so anyway, just county zoning is something that's been brought to my attention by a few entities over the last 6 months or so. And I can't say I'm convinced or not convinced that it's a good idea, but I did put a note in my on my to-do list to get with some people and basically get educated on it. So I don't, I think Du Bois County is one of 5 or 7 counties out of the 92 that don't have county zoning. There must be some benefit for it, or I wouldn't think that the other 80 plus would do it. I'm not convinced it's the best idea for Du Bois County, but I'm not opposed to it either. I think I need to be better educated on it. So I want to find out what benefits we would have, what deficits it would cause. The first thing I'm thinking of is we'll have to have staff to manage it. So that would be something. If there's zoning, then there's going to be probably preventing processes and enforcement of ordinances. I just wanted to bring that up, that there has been some discussion not within Du Bois County as much as outside of Du Bois County, thinking that it would be good for Du Bois County. So I don't know, anybody have any thoughts on that?
Not at this time.
Not this time. Okay, so I just wanted to let you know that I'll probably have a meeting with some people and try to become better educated on
You would just share what you learn.
it. I
We'll
will
try
try.
to become educated too.
You what?
I said we would be educated too.
Okay. Okay, we got about a couple more minutes here. So I did want to mention that I met with Commonwealth Engineers last week. I met with one of their, I guess, business development people at our commissioners meeting in Indianapolis a couple months ago. And they are working with Holland and people in the southwest portion of DuBois County on that part of the project. And so it was neat. I met with their engineer and a couple salespeople, and, you know, of course, they would be happy to work with us or help us in any way that they could. But mainly, they will be working with us on our second part of our regional sewer district, whatever it is in that area. There's some plans for development in the Holland area, and Holland has a need for either improving their lagoons or making improvements and going to the city of Huntingburg with sewer. So preliminary, as far as I'm concerned, on my side, it's preliminary stuff, but just starting to build a relationship with those folks. They seem like good people and they know what they're talking about. Any questions on that? And if either of you would like contact information from the people I met with, I can give you that as well. They gave me some business cards. Okay, next up is the park bid opening. It's 9 o'clock, so we'll hand it over to Mr. Chair.
I'll just ask for doing my business because he just came in, so thanks, bye. Yeah, that should be the ones we have.
Okay.
So can we get a summary of what we're going to be opening here today?
For Dan Engelbrecht here. He's with,
Step up? or-
Yes, sir, please do. Just introduce who you are and what we're doing today.
I'm Dan Engelbrecht with Hafer and the designer of the project. It's phase 2 of our improvements. And we're excited about it. It's really improving the playground, replacing some old equipment, and doing some landscaping around. And a key feature is the small splash pad area. Zip line kind of, and possibly a hill slide as well. We've got 5 alternates. Wanted to be sure we can get, the majority of it built. And I think it'll really enhance that central part of the park area. We're hoping it will create some attractions that will keep campers coming and other visitors to the park involved in the park as well. Just getting more used and more useful to the people in the county. So
Sounds great.
yeah, we had 7 contractors picked up drawings downloaded, I should say, drawings from the plan room. So I'm not sure. I know one of them just called me and told me he probably wouldn't be bidding because of other work, but we could have up to 6. But I don't know how many we've got received so far. So
we have 3 here today.
3. That's right.
We have Cypher Construction, Jasper Lumber Company, and Danco Construction. And then, Dan, if you want to sit here, if you can, with your sheets to write on, might be easier.
If anybody wants a scorecard, yeah, we welcome to.
First bid that I've opened is from Cypher Construction and Supply Company Incorporated. We have a base bid of $288,400. Yeah, units, you want pricings on here also? You want unit pricing or just the overall price?
Well, we actually have 5 alternates, so we can read those if you want to read them publicly, so that the contractors would have those. Cypher, can you say his again, the base?
$288,400. find alternates here. Did you put this packet together?
Yeah, there should be. There's an alternate.
I see it, alternate only.
No.
We put it that way, I'm not sure
Yes.
why.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We have a separate form with an alternate.
Okay, so alternate number one, is an ad of $38,700,
I'm sorry.
38700. Alternate number two is an ad of $87,800, 87800. Alternate three is an ad of $29,850, 29850. Alternate number four is an ad of $3,000. And then alternate number five is an ad of $69,150, 69150. Said five alternates, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And the unit prices.
All right, unit prices. For unit price number one, that is $120 per cubic yard. Unit price number two, which is rock excavation, is $150 per cubic yard. Unit price number three, additional stone edging, is $8 per linear foot. If I get these abbreviations wrong, please let me know. Unit number four pricing, an additional 2-inch water line, trench and backfill is $15 per linear foot. And that was all of those. And all their other forms are in order here as well. Second bid is from Jasper Lumber Company. They have a price of $425,000. Yes. Base bid 425,000. Go ahead, since they're in this order. Unit pricing. Unit price number one is $60 per cubic yard. Unit price number two is $144 per cubic yard. Unit price three, no bid. Unit price four is $45 per linear foot. The alternates on the project, and I didn't say what these were, I'll read them out this time. Alternate number one is to install an additional zip line playground feature. They have an ad of $37,000, 37000. Alternate number two is to remove existing play structure, including foundations, install new playground climbing feature. That is an ad of $69,500, 69500. Alternate number three is to furnish and install 4 spinner playground features, furnish and install 4 benches, furnish and install shrubs and ornamental grasses. That is an addition of $30,000. Alternate number four is to install sand pit boulders. That is an ad of $5,000. Alternate number five is to furnish and install a 4-foot wide stainless steel embankment slide, 10 by 10 wood deck and related features, and that is an ad of $77,000, 77000. They have the other documents that would appear to be in order as well. The final bid is from Danco Construction Incorporated. They have a base bid of $650,000. for unit prices. Unit price number 1 is an add, or is $55 per cubic yard. Unit price number 2 is $132 per cubic yard. Unit price number 3 is $75 per linear foot. And unit price number 4 is $40 per linear foot. Schedule of alternates. Alternate number 1 is an addition of $40,000. Alternate number 2 is an add of $75,000. Alternate number 3 is an add of $26,000. Alternate number 4 is an add of $4,500, 4500. And alternate number 5 is an add of $67,200, 67200.
So we will take the bids under advisement, leave them open for public inspection, is that correct? That we here for now?
That would be the plan. I think give Mr. Engelbrecht opportunity to review them closer and then formulate a final tab sheet and come back with a recommendation at a subsequent meeting, or
Do you believe you'd have time to do that today, or would you like to do it at the next meeting of accepting a bid?
The Parks Board would like to meet and discuss the bids, so probably your next meeting.
Sure.
They'll have a recommendation at your next meeting.
Okay, so, Mr. Schneider generally already have the bids available downstairs for.
yes, if you want to do that, if you could take everything downstairs, they can have an opportunity to review them if they would like to. And then when they're satisfied, then you can take the copies and go. We'll leave one behind. You can take one with you. Okay, let's do that.
That satisfactory
I
to the
think
board?
each of you supplied.
Okay, well, we thank everyone for their bids, and it'll be available downstairs for the next probably half hour if anybody wants to review those.
We'll leave one. You take one with you. Okay. I'll let you do that. We'll carry on. Okay, thank you, sir.
Mayor, I'm gonna bring up the commercial solar energy system permit application.
Okay.
So he sent us a copy of this for our review. And so I only have a couple questions. Overall, I think it's a fine document, a fine start to where we're at. So it does mention on the bottom a permit fee. Was that something we will have to discuss later? And
We can discuss if that's something this board would want to entertain. I know that other places do have a permit fee. Again, that help with administration of it, but we don't necessarily have staff in this situation. And it was on the form that I used before, that I was using to create this.
I would say at this point, I'd be okay with leaving the form at the bottom where it says permit fee, but not requiring a permit fee, because generally it'll come to us, we'll review it at a public meeting, and that would be about the extent of that. Is that okay?
I'm comfortable with that. We can leave it on there for future use as needed. Right now, we don't have anything that would allow for that fee. Or we haven't established one, sorry.
Correct. So, Mr.
I
Chair,
do
the
have
only
a printed copy if anybody wants to.
did you have a copy?
Sorry, I got a few of them.
Yeah, we can do that. Let everybody look at it. I think my next question was, at what point in the process would we require this? So a company could come into DuBois County.
I would think, based on what we're asking for, there's a request for a project plan. And I think that it would typically probably predate road use agreements and decommissioning agreements. So I think the initial phase, but they would need to have a drawing.
They'd have to have a general idea of what they're doing.
Correct. What area, what townships are we in? What lands are we utilizing? How big is it going to be?
My assumption would be they would have already talked to landowners and have agreements of some sort in place.
Correct.
On page 2, it says, under the site plan,
I gave away all mine.
the site,
I have one here.
I can read it. It says, no improvement temporary permit shall be constructed on any city or utility easement. We probably want to add the word county
Correct.
on there. So it says, shall be constructed on any, I guess we could put municipal.
It can just be county, because that would be all that we would be concerned with.
I would say
I'll just change it to,
we could keep both, is what I would say, because some of these would be where they would have joint jurisdiction between the cities and the county. So maybe change that.
correct, there are some where there's the 2 mile.
Right.
Yes. I understand.
Otherwise, the drawing, the information on completing the permit, it all seems in order to me. Mr. Wendell, if you had a chance to look at it,
I haven't, no. I will though.
okay, we'll come back to it in a few minutes. Right now, we have a request for courthouse use. Hi, Kate Schwenk is here.
Yes, Kate Schwenk with Road Jasper. We are hosting an event downtown Saturday, February 10th from 11 to 2. It's called Pamper Party. And we're showing the movie Frozen at 2 o'clock at the Astra. So this event will take place prior to the movie. It just gained a lot of attraction on Facebook. So as a precautionary, we're seeking permission to have the bathrooms open during that time because it is a kid-friendly event. And the stores will be open during that time, and then the Astra will be open for the movie. So it's more just a backup in case there be a larger crowd of people coming to that event.
And it's February 10th.
February 10th, if it's like this weather, probably no one will come because we'll be outside. But it's February 10th from 11 to 2 is the activity that we're having downtown prior to the movie at 2 o'clock.
Okay, just what will the activities consist of?
Yeah, so we have a few salons that are going to be open, just doing quick hair curling and putting glitter in the girls' hair, kids' hair. We'll have the horse and carriage ride going around City Hall. And then it's basically a Build-A-Bear bus out of Cordon. I think it's called Teddy Bear Mobile. They asked to attend the event. So there'll be a fee associated with that, but we'll have a bus park downtown where kids can get on and do a Build-A-Bear or build an animal. And then a few of the other stores, we're going to have some events like occasions talk about doing a tea party. So most of our activities will be indoors, except for the carriage ride. So like I said, stores will be open, so I would imagine people will be able to use restrooms in those places. But in the event, there was a lot of people that ended up coming. This would just be a backup option.
May have a heat wave.
Oh,
Anybody have a concern or?
I'm okay with that.
Same.
I'm okay.
Okay, I'll move that we approve the courthouse use agreement from 11 until 2 o'clock on February 10th. Make that motion.
I'll second.
Any other discussion?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
okay. Thank you. And then just the face with Scott prior to that weekend, or I forgot what's the best way to just.
I will give him a copy of this, but then you two will need to just work with him.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey, Greg,
Yes.
I don't know if the guy from Hafer's coming back up, but it looks like his hat is under his chair there.
Oh, okay. I'll pull that up.
Is that his jacket?
That's mine, I think.
I remember it when he goes outside.
Once he clears that door.
Okay, so back to this permit application. Just went over, if you had a chance to look it over now.
Yeah,
Do you have any issues with it?
no, I don't.
Mr. Bird? Anyone on the board?
No, I think it's fine.
Okay.
I added where you had referenced shall be constructed on any county, city, municipal, or utility easement.
Okay, I'd say, I would move that we approve the acceptance of this permit application with that change, to be implemented with any commercial solar energy systems that will be installed in Du Bois County.
Going forward.
Right.
So
Any other discussion?
No.
Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. So Mr. Schneier, with any of the couple that are working here locally, would we,
I can email them a copy of them. I know the Crossline one. Someone's,
I gave mine to Sandy.
I will go on.
see Mr. Eckerly's here.
I don't think it's going to be anything that would be too burdensome for them, but at least this way we'll be able to track.
It's one. Solar company, or was it?
Yep. So anyone that wants to do a solar energy system in Boise County.
Who's gonna give these out or hand them, monitor them, or?
It has, I think they would probably contact me, and I would, that's what they've been doing, they've been contacting me, new people, but I guess if they contact any of the commissioners or anybody from the highway department, we would, hand them out from there. So if you could make a final copy available to us.
If I can get it, should I put it on the
I
website
think
or?
so.
Yes.
If we each get one of these. Mr. Schneier, while we're discussing solar, is there any other activities that have come across you with road use decommissioning, any of those items?
Brent and I, we're putting final touches, I think, on the Duff road use agreement. They were wanting to then discuss the next steps. So they were an entity that was utilizing a memorandum of understanding because we had no permit. I'll share this permit with them. I'm comfortable they want to use it in conjunction with their MOU that we've already tweaked for them as well as part of their application to us, permit process.
So for a company like that, I think we discussed if someone wants to get something physical from us, they would turn this in, we would sign it that it's approved, and they can use that as their,
Correct.
as a permit.
Right.
Does that sound accurate?
And I may reach out also to Crossvine, just simply letting them know that it did not exist at the time that we signed that letter for them in November or whatever it was. It does now, and if they would want to utilize that, then so be
They
it.
may like having something in their pocket too, so it's approved.
The purpose of theirs was to look towards financing and insurance. So they may have already started the ball on that, but and I think that would be fine for them because we told them that was fine. It's like they got it prior to a permit coming into existence, so.
I don't want to use the term grandfather, but
Right.
that's what everyone thinks it would be.
Is there a cost?
No cost.
At this time.
Okay, so I guess moving forward, that's how we'll proceed. So regarding that road use agreement, I was going to bring it up during the highway reports, but we have a few minutes until our next item. So I think we can discuss that now. Do either of you, what?
The road use, they are coming actually on the first meeting in February.
February. Yeah, I was gonna bring it up as part of our business. I can handle that out now. But I brought printed copies for road use agreements for the deaf.
So you may have seen there's been emails, I've sent emails back and forth with Brent and Mr. Schneier as well.
This is our copy that's assigned that we're giving to you, that we got.
there were a couple comments that I just sent back for some changes and consideration for some of our generic language we use.
So this is the same thing that was in the email, correct?
Correct. I just, like I said in the email, I was gonna bring a printed copy along for you guys to review.
Some people like to read it printed rather than digital.
So
I'm
that's
one of those.
that's a bit different. The ordinance is for.
I didn't.
Okay, so really the only thing we're discussing right now for the next 5 minutes will be the agreement for road use. I think most of my questions have been answered by email, but the one of those regarding the amount of poles that they can put, I think maybe Mr. Weddle, the only thing that I would say would be, much like the rest of the document, that it gets approved by you and Mr. Berg, whatever use they have. I guess is that,
I don't know what we can tell them. We don't have an aesthetics, we don't, a number of polls, whether there's too many, too little. We don't have a say in that. What realm do we have to say, yeah, that's enough polls or that's too many polls? But there's no legal course for us to say if they want to put 50 polls in, we say, no, you don't have to put 40. How can we tell them yes or no?
I would think we'd have some, I mean, we're giving them permission to use them, use the space.
We use the space, correct?
But we don't, as an example, we don't dictate what REC puts up.
Right.
We don't dictate who, I mean, aside from when we're assisting with build outs, that's their thing. They're a utility right away.
But I think if we are gonna give them consent to use the property, now's the time to put any stipulations if we want that.
They're in a money-making business. They're not putting any extra polls than they have to.
One of the things I'm thinking of is like, Mr. Hostetter's area where they put all those chevrons up. It made locally, we would have decided to do things differently. So I didn't know if it was necessary that we had some say in it. I mean, we have some say in other issues. If somebody thinks it's a problem, then I think I'll just let it die.
I think I see Brent's point that, we don't require REC, and unlike the chevrons, that are gonna put as few as humanly possible because they cost them. I get from your standpoint too, that we don't wanna clutter up that right away. And, depending on how many people or how many companies use that.
I guess I'm looking out for the landowners too. If we had a say in it, we would do things where we would probably protect the landowner, where a company may put it up wherever it's most expedient to them instead of what's in the best interest of our people.
Right, it's in our right of way, but it's in somebody else's front yard. So,
Commissioner Stephen, any comment on the
No.
polls?
No. I'm good.
But as far as your history with utilities, shouldn't be an issue. You're not worried about it. Okay. And yeah, the selection of the transportation coordinator, it just wasn't listed in there, so I don't know if we want to.
I've already asked them if they know who that's going to be designated as.
Yes. The confidentiality, should we worry about it or leave it as is?
I wouldn't, I guess there would be some scenarios where, generally speaking, it's confidential. We just have to disclose to them that we're about to disclose it by law. So I don't think it doesn't limit what we're required to do with the agreement, personally. I think the only problem, we would just tell them, somebody asked for this, we sent it to them. Because there's, I think, a notice requirement to the developer. So in the event we got a public records request, but also I told them too that we would, I believe we upload these typically, Sandy, the road use agreements. No, I said in the event we did, then it may just be out there for the world to see.
It's only a contract. That's not really a contract.
It's a contract.
It is
There's
a
spending
contract,
involved with it.
we're different though in this instance, because we're getting money as opposed to
So we're going to we pay.
when we're paying for it, yeah.
So would the highway department have any issue with it as it stands?
I don't.
I mean, you worked on it, so you. Anybody on the board have any issues with it? So are you seeking final approval from the Board of Commissioners on this today?
Not today, no. No, I was getting before you guys any kind of comments that we can do, which you've done through via email. Then we'll bring it before them and they can hopefully make the adjustments for the February 5th meeting.
Okay, that sounds good. Next up, we have government deals surplus.
That's me.
Andrew,
That's me.
you want to just introduce yourself for the record?
Sure. My name is Andrew Justin. I'm with govdeals.com, and I'm going to show you a little bit about the online government surplus auction service that we offer. Do you want to dim the lights, or can everybody see that okay?
Does that help? Or you want to-
I think that's fine.
I think that works.
See it okay? Okay,
Yes.
cool. First of all, I want to thank Sandy. We've been back and forth trying to coordinate me getting down there at a couple canceled flights, and almost happened yesterday with the weather, but I was able to make it down here from Green Bay. So what I'm going to show you today real briefly is govdeals.com. So the best way to look at govdeals.com is essentially eBay for government. We're the largest online government surplus auction site in North America. So in order to sell on our website, you have to be a government agency, a city, a county, a village, a township, a school district. But then anybody can go on the site and buy. So it's the same idea as doing a local on-site public auction to get rid of your old stuff, but obviously a much more modern, efficient way to do it. Help you guys to make the process easier, reach more people, and make significantly more money for the stuff that you do sell. Tons of counties in Indiana using us, well over half. We are an approved vendor for the state of Indiana for you guys to dispose of surplus. This is a little bit about what the site looks like. So you come to the website and you can see there's categories for basically everything that you would think to list. We predominantly specialize in vehicles and equipment because obviously that's where most government agencies make the majority of their surplus revenue. Sheriff, highway, vehicles, equipment, that sort of thing. But as you can see, we pretty much sell it all. If you could take a picture of it in your government agency, it can be sold on our site. Furniture, electronics, scrap. I've sold everything from an airplane to a pile of fill dirt and everything in between. So you need to get rid of it. You can put it up on the site. You can see buyers can come to the site and they can search by category. So you can go in here and see, anything that's up there. Just take a random category. Right now we got arcade games. So you can actually go in and see, looks like there's an Xbox out there, Pac-Man video game. You can see just really all sorts of different types of things that are being sold on the site at any given time. And then you can also go in and you can search by location. So if I'm a bidder, I can go in and I can say, show me X amount of radius from my zip code. Does we have a zip code here they can give me?
47542.
All right, so I can go and say that's my zip code. I'm looking to see just assets, in that area within, I'll say 100 miles. And click on that. So every one of these dots on this map is a current GovDeals auction that's up live right now that people can bid on. Obviously, there's new ones popping up, opening and closing every second, every hour of every day. So you can go and zoom in, and if I'm a buyer, I can see, what is actually for sale right now. So I can go in here and see the city of Bloomington, for instance. They've got everything from this truck cap, as you can see, to this John Deere front end loader, riding mower, and a Caterpillar backhoe. So this is all stuff that they have out there right now. I'll just pull one of these up so you can kind of take a look at what it looks like. So this is an auction that's out here currently. So this is a 2010 John Deere front end loader. You can see right now it started at $200 and the current bid is $16,400. You can see it still has 8 days left, so it ends on the 24th. This is going to go way up in price. Obviously, most of the bidding happens towards the end in the last hour, the last day. And that's where you can go back and track your bid history. So you can kind of see this started at 13.6 and it's up to 16.4. Like I said, I fully anticipate this to go for much, much more. Obviously, there's still a week plus left. So most auctions run about 7 to 10 days is kind of the sweet spot. But again, perpetual auctions, you can list stuff as it comes up instead of waiting for a bunch of stuff to accrue to do a local sale. As stuff comes up and you find out you no longer need it, you can get it up on the site, get it sold within a week. Usually, like I said, 7 to 10 days is kind of our sweet spot for auction runtime. We do handle all the payment for you. So once the auction closes, the buyer's going to get instructions to make payment through GovDeals. They can pay with all major credit cards, PayPal, and then anything over $5,000 requires a bank wire. So once the asset has been paid for, you guys will get an email notification that the asset's been paid for. It'll auto-generate a paid receipt, a bill of sale. Obviously, that'll all become part of your audit trail. That's a big thing with us, certainly, is keeping track of everything, making sure that your finances and every dime of surplus revenue that you collect that we give you is going to be completely auditable, and you're going to be able to get an Excel spreadsheet that spits out every single item that you've sold with us. So,
Andrew,
yep.
is like eBay, is there a way to search sold and complete?
Yeah, yep. Great question. So if you go up here under advanced search, you could go in here and there's a ton of different variables. You can go in here and say at auction, but you can also go down and choose sold. So you'll be able to go say sold in the last up to a year. So everything up to a year. Now, of course, you can go further back within your own account, but this is where I can see anything that's sold. For instance, if I say everything sold in the last year in the state of Indiana, that would just pull up an extensive list of pretty much everything that's sold in the state of Indiana in the last year. So if you do a search there, you're going to go in and you're going to see, hopefully my internet pulls up. You'll see those results, but you can do a customizable search. So you could go in and type in, Ford Explorer, and that'll show you every Ford Explorer that's sold anywhere in North America on our site in the last year. So that's a good way to see what stuff's going for, what the sale price is. Also a good way to see if somebody sold something before. Sometimes you just may have something that you have no idea what it's worth. We do have a great feature called Approve All Sales, which kind of works in lieu of a reserve. So essentially, it is an auction. You can start it low, but you can either put a reserve price or you can make it so that every sale is subject to seller approval, meaning that it's a reserveless auction. You let it roll. You get to see what the final sale price is at the end and then decide from there whether you want to accept or decline the bid. So basically, you're never going to sell anything for less than what you want to get for it. Again, we are the largest marketplace of our kind, over 5 million buyers. You're not going to have issues with price. That's probably the biggest benefit to moving to our system is if you compare it to a trade-in, a local auction, a sealed bid, some of the traditional methods, we're usually going to do 20 or 30% better, especially true with commonly sold assets, highway department equipment, sheriff's department cruisers. I mean, we sell a lot of the same stuff since we only sell for government. It's all that sort of stuff that we're selling all day, every day. And people are coming to our site looking for that specific stuff. So that's we can go in and look at past sold auctions. And then, like I said, you could look at the location search there. So this is where buyers can really go and find assets, see what there is out there. If you are a bidder, you can set up a bidder's account. You could set up your zip code. You could set up a radius and choose from your category interest list. So you could go in here and choose from any of these categories. And then we'll automatically email you if something pops up in your radius in a category that you've specified that you're interested in. So right off the bat, it's letting, thousands of buyers know, hey, this agency just listed something that you possibly would be interested in. So they can go and bid on it that way. So that's a little bit about how govdeals.com works. That's the bidder facing site. That's where all the bidding happens. That's our main site. But what you also have access to is govdeals.net. So this is really what sets us apart. This is more the self-service eBay model. So this is where you can log in on the seller side and you can manage your entire process on the seller side. I'm taking you a little bit behind the scenes. This is Warwick County government. This is actually their account, what it looks like. So when they log into govdeals.net, this is their seller dashboard. So you can see it's got their county name, their account number, client account manager. So obviously there's myself, also my partner, Tim, who's out of Chicago. He's a fantastic resource. We don't just throw you in the fire and say, good luck with this. He's going to come out here. He's going to help you guys to get started with everything. Hold your hand. This is his direct cell phone number. He's fantastic to help you guys get started with it. And then this is where you can kind of manage the auction process. So you can see anything that's not paid. Once the auction closes, it's going to go into not paid. Once the buyer makes payment, then it's going to go from paid to not picked up. And then everything that's sold on our site, the winning bidder is responsible for pickup and removal within 10 business days. So we're all about turning stuff over more quickly. Usually it happens much quicker than the 10 business days because they've already sent their full payment. So usually once they've paid, they get your contact information. Usually they're chomping at the bit to come pick the asset up. You can do that by appointment only. You can set specific hours if you're selling a bunch of stuff, whatever's easiest for you all. Once that gets picked up, you'll mark it as picked up. That closes out the sale. Obviously selling for government, all these ironclad terms and conditions that are going to protect you all. Once the asset leaves the property, that's the end of the sale. You'll go in and mark that the asset's been picked up so that we know when the asset's been picked up. That closes out the sale. That's going to send notification to our accounting department to get you all paid. And we do pay out either electronically via ACH or regular paper checks. Paid weekly, and paper checks are about every 2 to 3 weeks. In either case, the beautiful part about this, there's zero cost for the county. The buyer pays our fee as a buyer's premium, which is pretty common for an auction, which is 12.5%. So if you guys sell a sheriff's vehicle for $8,000, you get $8,000. The buyer pays the $8,000 plus that buyer's premium of 12.5%. Obviously, that's how we. When a bidder goes in and places their bid, it gives them that bid price. It shows them the buyer's premium. That's where they have to electronically agree to the terms and conditions. That's binding. They click submit. That's their out the door total, and then that's the bid that they've submitted. So, like I said, nice part about this is never going to be any cost for you all. You're going to get 100% of the proceeds for everything that you sell. There's no contract or commitment required. So most agencies will set it up. Start small, try it out. If you got a couple desks to sell, try that out. Just proof of concept, kind of run it through the system. But it's a great at-will service. Again, not something you have to use for everything, but most agencies find that it's a great way to get stuff online, get stuff, get warehouses, storage areas cleared out, and then more importantly, to make more money for your higher value assets. If you get rid of, like I said, vehicles, equipment, that sort of thing, you're going to see significantly higher returns doing it this way. Sold on auction. So again, everything is going to be part of your audit trail. We're all about. So you can go back and see some of the stuff that Warwick County has sold, everything from this Humvee to some mower blades. I think they even sold, they sold a drone from the sheriff's department, some message boards. You can see lots of filing cabinets, all sorts of different stuff that they've sold. They've only been selling with us for about 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years. So you can see they've sold about $60,000 worth of surplus with us. And at any time I can go back in here and look at the bill of sale, the certificate, which is essentially the receipt showing all the buyer's information, how they paid, all that good stuff. So you can actually go back and see what the auction itself looks like. How it ended up here, $7,800. You can go back and look at the bid history. Again, really more details than you would ever need, but stuff that's nice to have for peace of mind as a government agency. And then in order to build a new auction, so I should mention, this is meant to be a service model. We have full capability to allow you guys to manage this process. So for instance, you could go in here and click, if you want to build a new auction, you click start a new asset. This big blue button here. It's a one-page form to fill out to build a new asset. No matter what you're listing, whether it's a desk or a vehicle, it's the same one-page form to fill out. We do have a really awesome VIN decoder. So I want to show you real quickly how that works because it's pretty cool. Anything that has a VIN number, you can just go ahead and enter in the VIN, and it's going to pull up all the information about that vehicle straight from the VIN report. So if I go in here and punch in this VIN, get vehicle details, it pretty much did all the work for me. It showed that this is a 2021 Dodge Charger. It entered in the VIN decoder. Down here, you can put in some additional information. So 2021 Dodge Challenger, coupe, 2-door, 5.7 liter V8. That's all right from the VIN report. It pulled that up automatically. So then all you really need to do there is just enter in stuff that wouldn't be on the VIN. So that'd be like mileage, let's put in the mileage there. Inventory ID number, if that's county asset number 43, you can go ahead and write that in here. We'll track that off of your internal system so everybody knows what asset that is. Long description, this is where you can add any additional information. Doesn't need to be a 100-point mechanical inspection, just common sense stuff of what a buyer would want to know. We're a government surplus auction site, so a lot of the stuff we sell is in rough shape, obviously. Really the big things are, does it start, does it run? If it's a vehicle, is it drivable? A couple sentences just describing the asset. When was it taken out of service? If there's a glaring issue like, the transmission shot or the tire is flat, or, this is a lot of 10 filing cabinets, that's all stuff you'll put here in the long description so that the buyer can see what it is they're bidding on. Users, you can add as many different users as you want. Each user account is permission based, so you can set it up and say, this is what this person can and can't do. You could set up different departments. So you can say, there's a login for the highway, for sheriff, for the courthouse. And then you can also set up different pickup locations. So if all your surplus is located at one facility, great, then that's where the buyers will come pick the assets up. But if you have, stuff at the sheriff's department, stuff at the highway department, they're going to be sold separately. We encourage you to list those as separate pickup locations and to have the buyer come and pick them up there. So don't waste the time or hours or gas to move stuff around. Just list the stuff off the floor it sits, make the buyer come and do the work to pick it up. And that's great for, like I said, lots of furniture, scrap metal. I mean, really when the goal is just cost avoidance and getting that stuff out of your hair. Like I said, I sold a pile of fill dirt and the guy really didn't care about getting money for it. He just wanted somebody to come and haul $500 because it had a lot of value, but he had people that had to come and haul that stuff away on the buyer's end. So that not only did that save his staff time and money, he also made some money on it, just getting rid of a pile of dirt on his public works lot. So pretty straightforward with the auction dates. You can go in here and choose when does the auction start, when does it end. Usually, like I said, 7 to 10 days is kind of the sweet spot. But you do want to look at the calendar, obviously make sure you're not ending it on, Christmas Day or stuff like that. Start time is not nearly as important as end time. For the end time, you just want to be cognizant of when that is. You don't have to be present for it or anything like that. I generally like my auctions to end mid to late afternoon. It doesn't really matter, but you just wouldn't want to end an auction at 5:30 in the morning or 1:30 at night. Just want to kind of look at when it's going to end. Opening bid. This is just the first bid that's required. So what is the first bid that somebody has to make? You started very low to get the auction process started. And then the reserve, I talked about before, as well as that approve all sales feature, which can be used in lieu of a reserve, which basically makes every sale subject to seller approval. So you guys can take a look at how the auction ends up, decide from there whether you want to accept or decline the bid. If you accept, it'll send the buyer instructions to make payment through GovDeals. If you decline, it'll just send them an email letting them know that the seller has declined the sale. And then you'll have the option to either relist or go to plan B if you have a plan B for it. Then the fun part, adding media. It's just as simple as uploading pictures. You can go in here, click on a folder that you may have, and then you can actually hold the first picture, click shift, hold the last picture, and you can upload as many photos as you want. So if I had a folder of 20 photos, I could go in here, choose that folder, and then as they upload, they're all going to populate in this little white area as little thumbnails. So you can switch them around, if you want to make the first one, usually you want the first one to be the best overall image. That's the thumbnail of the asset. And then like for vehicles, for instance, you just do a couple, exterior, interior, odometer, that sort of thing. And then you can also upload videos, Excel spreadsheets, PDFs, any type of media that you want to add to give the buyer more information. We encourage, like I said, the more information and pictures that you put in, the better return you're going to get, the less questions you're going to get, that sort of good stuff. So that's as easy as it is. You click save, and usually if you have pictures and basic information for an asset, it doesn't take more than 3 to 5 minutes to build that. My partner, Tim, can also help you guys out with a lot of that. So if a concern is, well, we just don't have the time or staff to do this, we can help with that. We could do the pictures. We could do the listings for you. He came down and did that for Warwick County when they first got started. But he does also want to show you how easy this is to do, so you're not reliant on him. So if something comes up, take 5 minutes, punch it in the system, put it out there, get it sold, get it moved on, move on to the next item. But he can also come out, especially if you guys have a bunch of stuff. That was the case with Warwick County. They had a bunch of stuff they were looking to sell. So he came down, got everything listed for them, let them look at it, review it, approve it before it went live, kind of got them caught up with their surplus. And now they have this resource to be able to sell as stuff comes up and no longer wait for stuff to accumulate and depreciate and that sort of thing. So a lot of other bells and whistles here. I don't want to get too far into the weeds with it, but reports, you can pull a bunch of different reporting capabilities. We've got some links, hyperlinks that you can put on your website, on Facebook. We do a ton of advertising and marketing on our own side because, as you can imagine, the way that our fee structure works, if your stuff doesn't sell, we make no money. And the more your stuff sells for, we get that percentage from the buyer. So we have 12 different people in our marketing and advertising department that do nothing but market and advertise not only your auctions, but also will let the community know that your stuff is up online and that they can bid on it, help bidders set up accounts, that sort of thing. So really value added to help you guys get more money for the stuff that you have. And then, like I said, there's a lot of other bells and whistles here that, if you decide to give this a try, my partner Tim will go over with you. But that's kind of the gist of it. Like I say, best way to look at it, essentially eBay for government. Work with a ton of the counties here, including the state of Indiana sells with us as well. They sell all their surplus with us also. So something I would encourage you guys to try if you do have surplus upcoming. Like I said, nothing to lose, no cost, no contract, no commitment. If the county is interested in setting up an account, you could go back to govdeals.com. You go up to this sell tab on the top left, and it's just as simple as a one-page form to fill out to become a seller. It's basically just us verifying that you qualify as a municipality. So it's all very basic information: agency name, address, contact person, title. Really, the only decision you have to make on this page is how you want to be paid. This is the area where you can enter in banking information. If you do want to do the ACH payments, this is fully encrypted. So you can enter in your banking information here, and we'll go ahead and set you up with ACH payments, which are paid out weekly. This is not a required field. So either if you're not sure, not comfortable, or want to do paper checks, leave this blank and we'll automatically revert it to a paper check that'll be mailed to whatever address you registered with here above. And then, like I said, everything else on this page is pretty straightforward stuff you should have right off the top of your head. You do have the standard terms and conditions here. This is a boiler template that we give you. It'll auto-populate all your agency's information. You can tweak it any way that you want. They're your terms and conditions with the buyer. 99% of my sellers stick with these standard terms and conditions. They're very inclusive. They cover everything from as is, where is, no warranty, title transfer, all that good stuff, sales tax. This is what is binding to the buyer when they place their bid. They have to electronically agree to this. And this is what makes sure that they're following through with payment, pickup, removal, and keeping everything above board. So other than that, everything else on this page is pretty straightforward. Like I said, you click continue, you'll get to a page where it shows everything you've inputted. Submit there, and you'll get to a page that says, thank you for registering with GovDeals. A representative will be in touch. I get a notification. Obviously, I know you guys qualify as a county. I get it activated, and then you'll get an automated welcome email that'll come out with the contacts from my partner, Tim. And he'll be able to set up a time to either come out and help you guys get started, or obviously you can do it all remotely as well, to walk you through getting started with your first auctions, kind of hold your hand to get everything moving with the product. So that's about all I've got. Do you all have any questions or anything else you want to see while I got the site up?
Non-payment, does a person who registers as a buyer have a credit card on file, the payment is automatically taken out, or?
So when you're a new bidder, we have a probationary period. So our bidder default rate is 2.75%. So 97+% of our auctions and a successful payment and pickup. Of course, we can't force people to pay. We can't choke and shake them down. They can automatically save their credit card. They'll just go in then, and once they get their invoice, they can go and make payment via credit card, and then you'll get notified. If a buyer defaults on an auction and doesn't follow through with either payment or pickup, they're locked out of their GovDeals account. The only way that they can get back in to bid on your stuff or any other agency is to pay a 40% penalty on the amount that they defaulted on. So if they defaulted on a $1,000 asset, the only way they can get unlocked to go and bid on anything again is to pay $400. 200 of which you guys keep, 200 of which we keep. Essentially, we split that, and then you still have the asset. So you could go ahead and award it to the second highest bidder if that was a price that you liked, or you could just click one button and relist the auction, another week or 5 or 7 days. Like I said, $500 million of sales last year, 500 million with a 97% payment and pickup rate. So I'm not going to say it never happens, but buyers want to stay in good standing on our site. You can imagine there's a lot of resellers, people that just buy Ford Explorers all over the country, people that buy snow plows. So people want to stay in their good graces, and they have to successfully pay for and pick up 3 assets before they're actually off the probationary period. So we kind of monitor them, those first 3 sales, to make sure that they're going to do the right things, because we're only as good as our buyer database. We can put stuff out there, and if it doesn't ultimately sell and get paid for and get picked up, we're not doing you any good. So yeah, the buyer default, and just as a comparison, eBay's buyer bidder default rate is between 12 and 15%, and ours, like I said, is under 3%. So again, not going to say it's never going to happen, but very rare that does happen, and we do have some fail safes in place to make sure that you guys are still okay if somebody is a bad buyer.
My other question with disputes. So we list it, we act in good faith, we think we sold it accurately described, and somebody comes and sees it and says, well, this is worse than I expected. If there's a dispute there, is that?
It's up to you guys. I've seen different agencies do different things. Some just take a hardline approach and say, read the terms and conditions. Too bad, so sad. You should have came and looked at it, type of thing. But if you do feel like maybe there was something misadvertised, even if it was an error and it wasn't on purpose, you do have the ability to go in and offer the buyer a partial refund, right? So you could say, like, I just had a situation up in Michigan where they sold a Ford Explorer, and the agency had listed within the listing that it was going to be coming with 2 spare tires. And the buyer fully anticipated getting 2 spare tires. Well, when they went to pick it up, it turned out that they ended up putting those on a different car. They couldn't get them. The buyer was upset. The buyer came back. They ended up basically just refunding them for whatever 2 tires would have cost. So they had paid the full amount, but then the seller just refunded them, $200 or $300 or whatever it was. So after the fact, you do have the ability to kind of work with buyers on that. Of course, we ask that you advertise everything to the best of your knowledge, but there are sometimes things like that happen, and you can kind of work with the buyer as to whether you want to refund that. Like I said, some sellers will just say, too bad, we already have their money, so really nothing they can do. But if you do want to act in good faith and you feel like maybe, it made sense, you can go ahead and refund a partial amount of that for whatever you decide.
So if I bought that Humvee from Warren County and I thought that the condition was worse then they advertised. My only recourse is potentially tough for me. I shouldn't have wanted it auction without looking at it.
I would go to them and voice your frustrations. This is what I think is wrong with it. Find out how they feel about that. Maybe they agree. But it depends on the seller. Yeah, it depends on how the seller wants to proceed from there. Like I said, some sellers will be great to work with them and say, yeah, you're right. You know, we didn't advertise this or that. Others will say, I provided you 20 pictures and the VIN and a basic description. You know, also, I should mention that while the auction is live, buyers can ask questions. So while the auction is out there, the only way they can communicate with the county is through our Q&A. So there's no phone number, email, or anything like that listed. You guys are going to have no contact with them unless they send in a question through the Q&A. So if somebody does want to come out and look at it, you can set up hours to do that, but they're going to not just be stopping by any time. They're going to have to set up through the Q&A, say, I want to come see it. And then a buyer might say, hey, I've had some questions about this. Could I give you a call through the Q&A? If you feel like they're a good buyer and you want to do that, you can give them a number to call, and then they can get a little bit more information. But we encourage inspections for everything. It doesn't happen very often. If you do a good job of putting pictures in a basic description, you're almost never going to have anybody coming out here looking at the stuff, which was amazing to me when I started in this business, because I would never buy a vehicle without going and kicking the tires. But all day, every day, I see buyers from the East Coast buy stuff from here, sight unseen based on what they see. They send a transport company to come pick it up, and they're out the door. So, yeah, you do have a lot of flexibility with that as far as making sure that everybody's happy.
And if there's an impasse, does it go to local court?
Well, actually, we absorb all chargebacks. So what would happen is if somebody paid with a credit card and then they went back to their credit card company and disputed it, we actually eat that amount. So you guys are still going to get paid. The reason we were able to do that is because it just happens so rarely. And usually we're able to work it out between the seller and the buyer. But if we're not, I've actually never seen it once go to law enforcement. Usually you're either able to work it out internally, or like I said, somebody just says, hey, you know, read the terms and conditions. If you got a problem with it, then, you know, take it up with a lawyer. But I've never seen it get to that point. Like I said, as long as you're not purposely trying to deceive people, usually, you know, people are okay about working it out.
Q&A takes place on the site itself.
Yep.
Not through personal email.
Yep. So if I pull up an auction here, like for automobiles, and I just go in and see if there's been a question answered right here on this Challenger. Yeah, right here you can see the Q&A. So actually, this person asked, do it have a title? I would say, does it have a title? Hello, yes, it does have a clean title. Thanks. So the Q&A is great because sometimes maybe there's information that you realize you probably should have put in the listing, and a bunch of people are asking, right, like, is this 4-wheel drive? Then you would want to answer that and say, yes, this is 4-wheel drive. Now everybody can see that this does have a clean title, right? Everybody that bids on it, it becomes an addendum to the auction, so everybody can see what that Q&A was. Anybody else have any questions?
Don't believe so. Oh, we have one.
Darrell Schmidt, County Council. The 12.5% that you said, is that flexible based off of asset size? Like $100,000 piece of equipment, that's above average industry. Normally nobody will charge 12.5% on that.
Yeah, there's a sliding scale once you get over 100,000 actually. So it goes down a few points once you get over 100,000. We also sell a lot of real estate. If you sell real estate, there's a lower rate for real estate as well, because obviously 12.5% is not real competitive with that. But anything under $100,000 is going to be that 12.5% buyer's premium, and then you get points off of that based on, if you sell a $250,000 asset, it's not going to be 12.5%. It's going to be more like 8%. But it's a sliding scale based on it's called ADVP. So you get discounts basically for higher value assets.
So the extra, 12.5% up to 100,000. In my experience, that's on the higher side. So are you providing extra services to warrant that extra percentage?
I would argue it's not on the higher side. Our nearest competitor is at 15%. What you're getting with our auction is more bidders than anywhere else on government surplus auction sites. So I think that relatively you're still going to find that the net return is higher than what you've gotten previously. I'm not going to say 12.5% doesn't scare some people away, but it's not going to scare everybody away. So there's somebody out there that's going to pay it.
I'm comparing it to private stuff. I buy stuff online for our operation privately, and we don't pay near that percent. People will figure that in. Buyer's premium, you can easily back figure the math.
Yep, and you guys don't have to charge that all to the buyer, I should mention. Some agencies decide that they'd like to split that percentage up and charge 7.5 to the buyer's premium and absorb 5%. Ultimately, it's gonna total 12.5 altogether, but most agencies say, you know what, pass this on to the buyer, we just wanna get 100% of the proceeds. You can break that up fractionally if you don't wanna pass it all on to the buyer, but I don't usually ever see anybody do that.
It seems a little high according to the private sector, that's why I was asking.
Yep.
Anything else from the board, commissioners?
No.
Okay, thank you for the presentation.
You bet. I'm going to leave some literature up here, some cards and flyers, so if anybody wants to grab it before they take off. And thanks again for the time. I really appreciate it.
And if anybody wants to talk to you, you'll hang out for a few minutes, maybe in the hall talk to you.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a 1-minute break and we'll come back in and move on with Mr. Wheeler next.
Thanks for setting that up.
Probably recess to the drainage board minutes and then just.
Thank you. Glad I was finally able to get out
Cold
here.
stay of the year to come here.
Well, you should see how cold it is where I live.
That's where you're from, yeah.
We just got a foot and a half of snow. Had 2 snow days last week, which is pretty hard to do up where I live. So, not only is it cold, but there's snow above my mailbox. So.
So you were happy to come here?
I was. I wasn't expecting to be this cold. This has got to be as cold as it gets here.
Yeah. No, it gets colder, however, not very
Not very
often.
So you're with the highway department?
Yes.
What do you guys do for your surplus? Do you do local onsite auctions? Or?
We have surplus. Yeah, local, mainly. Most of our stuff we trade off. As we get new, we trade off old.
Okay.
Steve and I have actually talked about this several times, but we just haven't pulled the plug. We don't have a whole lot of surplus right now.
Okay. Because what I was going to say is what you can do with that approve all sales feature is before you go to the trade, you can go and find out what they're going to give you for trade, run it out here for the meeting. Right. I can understand you more this way. If you don't, you don't have to trade. Usually you're going to make more this way. And then you can look at it and say, okay, you'd rather take.
Right. No, we have, like I said, we've talked about it several times. We have pulled the trigger.
Right. That's why I want to get down and kind of seeing what it all is.
Yeah.
We work with, like I said, Warren County just signed up Orange County. There's a lot of counties around here.
I used to work in Ward County and my old county truck was.
I saw you scroll through. I recognize that truck.
Wasn't the Humvee, right?
No, it wasn't that. I wish it was.
Because Ryan, I want to pay Dave until he part it. Last Tuesday at our meeting, because as soon as you said it, I'm like, oh, that's not what you just told me on Monday. So then I let him know what was different. Okay, we'll figure it out. Before council, I mean, I'll just say we know what's in the 40s this year and I'll just kind of chat about it. And then we're still working on the numbers.
I mean, I'd advertise it, so that's.
Oh, you have? Okay.
We had to be able to press last Thursday.
Okay, that's right. Well, what you got this right, I'm sure. I think maybe he didn't factor in. Carry over.
I just.
Yeah.
Balance as I had it in the.
Okay.
All right, let's get back into business here.
Good morning, Phil Beaver with Grossman Land Surveying and Engineering. Here on behalf of Stanley Farms, LLC. Stanley Farms owns this highlighted piece of property. I'm sorry. It's on County Road 825 East, just east of Celestine. You'll see 164 over to where 545 heads north. So what's transpired here is we did a survey. There's grandchildren who have a 2.7 acre tract. If you look on the second sheet, that they are wanting to construct a house on. The third, there's the survey that's in there. The fourth sheet on that is an actual approved parcelization that was approved by the subdivision review committee for this. You'll see that that was approved transferring this piece of property directly to the grandchildren. If you'll recall, I believe it was October, we had a situation similar to this. In this case, the LLC is being told that they need to transfer the land first to, if you look up at the top, there's a statement that 2/3 to a trust and then the other third to one of the members of the LLC. And then those two parties will then transfer this 2.7 acre tract to the grandchildren. So there's the intermediate step of transfer in between the that doesn't, to the T, doesn't meet the requirements of the parcelization. It states that the name on the deed needs to be the initial occupant of the house. So we are seeking a variance to transfer to the intermediate parties who then transfer to the grandchildren. And that statement, the verbiage on that statement is basically the similar verbiage that we had on the one that was approved in October where we had the same situation.
I think my only concern that I brought up to the county engineer was they don't have a driveway.
So, yeah, if you look on the survey, I did put a statement on there. We talked with them. Basically, there is no driveway right now. And so what we said is that we would come back whenever they do construct their driveway and put it and get an easement in place for that. So there's a note on the survey that says that. And the other thing would be, I'm going to re-record this survey because that survey right now says that there was a parcelization approved by the subdivision review committee. I'll update that verbiage, presuming that we get approved today, that it was approved as a variance at, at this meeting. But yeah, we'll make sure that we get that in place.
Okay. Any comments, concerns from the board?
No, I shared the same one as you. First thing I saw was no drive.
I mean, the truth is, we could have, and maybe we should have. We can put an easement on that survey, but the reality is that when it comes time to do a as-built or, go and do a survey or location report for the lending institution, it's gonna be different than the driveway where it gets built. So our thought was, why waste that time and energy, effort to do that? But, if you want it contingent upon that we put an easement on there, certainly can.
So short of,
They're gonna access it from the north, up here and then come down. But they just, they know generally speaking where it's gonna be, but it's done it enough times where you write an easement on something that's not there yet, and then you go back and it's 50 feet different.
so if they don't get permission from the adjoining landowner to share a driveway, they'll have to get permission from the county highway department. Like if they wanted to put a new driveway in, we'd have to get a permit so I mean, we're not in any harm. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, and my understanding would be where they're gonna be coming, where their desire to come off the county road would not bring in any other landowner other than Stepney Farms LLC.
So I'm okay with approving the variance as it's been presented unless unless somebody else has an alternative comment.
I think I'm good with it.
We can just put a notation in there for the easement for the drive in a particular area or not.
Like I said, I'm gonna be re-recording the survey, so if you wanna see easement verbiage on that survey, the truth is, I can put whatever on that survey and that doesn't bind them to get that in, say, the deeds, but it would be prudent to have it in there or something at some point at least.
I'm not too worried about it at this point because they're gonna share the neighbor's drive at this point. If they do something else, we'll have to give them permission.
There's nothing in our parcelization ordinance that states they have to have an easement to access the road. But now, it's in the homeowner's best interest to do that, but it doesn't always happen that way. And, per our ordinance right now, we don't have anything that states they have to have one in there. Like I said, it's in the homeowner's best interest to do that,
Okay.
but it doesn't always work.
I'm fine.
Okay.
I'll move that we approve the parcelization subdivision exemption.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are going to put a pause on the commissioners meeting. We are going to open the drainage board for the sole purpose of approving some minutes. I believe is the only business that the drainage board has today. So we have minutes from both the January meeting that we had previously and
This year,
of 2024, and a meeting from a couple meetings.
we met February and March of 23.
The February 2nd, 2023 minutes, the March 6th, 2023 minutes, and then if you want to do the January 2nd meeting that we just had, 2024.
Okay, has everyone had a chance to look at those minutes, and are you okay with them as they're written?
Good.
Okay. I'll move that we approve the February and March 2023 minutes. We'll start with that.
I'll second.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. And then we have the January 2nd, 2024 meeting minutes as well. We can go ahead and have that business taken care of today. I'll move that we approve those minutes.
Second.
Is it second one?
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Is there any other business for the drainage board today? No?
No,
Anything
sir.
from the public? No, we'll close the drainage board. Okay, we'll call the commissioners meeting back into session. And the next thing we have there is the Substance Abuse Council.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You get me today. I'm gonna wear my Substance Abuse Council hat.
All right.
Jenna was not available. I want to introduce April Jones.
Hi,
She
April.
is our new Substance Abuse Council Coordinator. She started November. Mid-November.
Yes.
Yeah, she comes from us, she comes to us from WVDC. She's an account executive there. So we're excited to add that aspect into the Substance Abuse Council, get the word out a little bit more. So I think most of you know what the Substance Abuse Council is. Let me pass this out to each of the members. April is going to help me by passing out our comprehensive community plan to you. And I also have several other members from our executive board here. We have Nancy Eckerly, who's been on our Substance Abuse Council board since the early 90s, probably, the beginning of it. Yeah, and we have Joe Crutchfield here also. I think those are the only two here from our board. Okay, so Substance Abuse Council with Du Bois County, the funding for that comes from a countermeasure fee that was created back in the early 90s by the governor. So anybody who has a substance crime conviction in Du Bois County, typically in Superior Court, part of their fine and cost goes to fund this council, and the money is intended to give back to help fight substance misuse in Du Bois County. So the vision statement we have for our Substance Abuse Council is to aspire to reduce the impact that substance misuse has on the community through collaborative efforts. And our mission statement is the Du Bois County Substance Abuse Council is to reduce substance abuse and misuse and the problems associated with substance abuse in Du Bois County youth and adults in order to enhance family and community life. So the monies that come to the council each year, we go to the Substance Abuse Council, we go to the council to draw those monies down from the fines that were collected last year. And I believe this year it's going to be in somewhere in the $40,000+, which is great for us to be able to get back to the community. So some of the things we did last year, we had a total of $31,658.57 that was given to us to grant out into the community. So in September, individuals would come to us and typically they need to be non-for-profit type entities. And then as an executive board, we will vote on those. They present and then we vote and decide how best those monies can be utilized in Du Bois County to combat substance misuse. So we gave you a copy of our comprehensive plan, and on the very back of that, you will see where the grantees, where we took a look at what the grantees were wanting and then how we granted that money out. So not everybody got fully funded what they requested because we didn't have enough money to do all of that. But what we were able to do was fully fund out the $31,658.57. And they went to various entities like TRICAP does a medication collection. This year we had a Girl Scout group come to us and want to plant a dove garden. So the individuals there could have produce back, which was kind of neat. Brosmer House to help fund some of their things. Center on Fifth for training. They have an apartment that they are trying to outfit. So different entities will utilize that in the criminal justice system to train. They'll have like a Coke can where the bottom comes off, where teenagers might be able to hide some of their marijuana, or just to show parents and other community members that, hey, look for these things in your kids' room. They might be doing things that they shouldn't be doing. Hidden in plain sight program, yeah. So that will be part of that training department. Youth First prevents in education of Holy Trinity, Forest Park random drug testing, more funding to Dev House for a camera in their drug screens. We had sent a therapist to do some EMDR training. We have substance abuse education classes that we offer through the probation department. It funds us to contract out to someone to teach those, as well as some of the journals, evidence-based journals to use for that. Next Step Recovery drug screens to help fund that. Interactive journals. Ferdinand Police Department applied for some Narcan posters so they could carry Narcan with them when they respond to different scenes. Needle-resistant gloves. JPD, Jasper City Police asked for a pepper ball program to use in training. We
Utilize
fund.
that.
They are, they're non-lethal options to use in situations where an individual might be on some sort of substance that they're not responsive to commands. So they can use a pepper ball gun, which shoots one pepper ball, if you will, that can help in the aid of.
And neutralize them without using a lethal force, without having to shoot.
It's a shotgun, right? I mean, as far as, so shotgun, like a
like
lethal
air,
shotgun.
It looks more like
pushes.
a paintball gun.
Yeah, CO2,
Yes,
like shoots it out.
lower velocity,
Right, but enough to neutralize the subject without having to use lethal force and
sure.
for their protection as well as the officers' protection. And then also each year we fund the intoximeter down at Jasper City Police Department, and several of the police agencies go there. That's the official breathalyzer that's given that's used in court. So, yeah, community corrections, I'm not sure what the $500 was there for.
It went to the same programs for the substance
journals.
abuse training and the training materials
Okay.
and those types of things, yeah.
Okay, so a lot of good things were done with the money last year, I feel like, and we look forward to the funding this year and seeing what else is out there that people are requesting. So the comprehensive report tells you a lot. You'll see some different numbers in there of what we're seeing in the community. Alcohol is usually at the top thing that we see, then marijuana and then methamphetamine. And it's pretty well across the board in community corrections, probation, the hospital. We're all seeing the similar top 3 substances. We do see opiates, we see cocaine, we do, there are other things that we see in there, but those are the top 3. And we try to focus, where we can have the most impact with that. Yeah, so are there any questions? It was a quick overview, but I think most people are pretty familiar. As a commissioners, boards, you don't need to act on this. It's just more of an information type thing for you. And then we'll go to the council later this month and ask to have that money drawn down so that we can fund it out later this year.
That sounds good. I don't believe I have any comments. Anyone else? We're pretty familiar with you.
Okay, we do meet the second Tuesday of every month at the library. Anybody is welcome to attend these meetings. We have a good variety of different people there now. It's kind of interesting to see.
Been good attendance too.
Yeah, usually average around 20, 25, sometimes 30 people in our meetings.
You said they're at the library, right?
They are at the library, usually in the Hickory Room or the Cherry Room, depending which one's available. So second Tuesday of every month at 11 a.m. Okay.
I don't think I have any questions. And if somebody, if one of the board members or anyone in the public is interested, you have an email list that I'm sure somebody could
Absolutely.
get on if they want to follow your minutes, your meeting agendas and those kind of things as well.
Absolutely. Are you on there, Chad, now? Are you on there? Yeah, if anybody else wants to be on there, let me know. I did try to send you something, Nick, and it bounced back earlier for some JRAC stuff later, so I'll have to make sure. Sandy gave me your correct email yesterday, I think, or the Gmail one, so. But we'll get you guys set up. Okay.
Sounds great.
All right, thank you.
Nice meeting.
Nice meeting you. I forgot, did anybody want to add anything, Nancy? Or Joe? Okay.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Joe. Good. Ms. Lambert, would you like to talk about the JRAC position while you're here?
I would, if you guys have time. One of my other hats So whereas on the JRAC board, Justice Reinvestment Advisory Committee, and Chad's on that board also. So with that in mind, JRAC, we have, do you guys want a copy of the job description? Oh, great, I have it. I have a job description that I'm passing out now. So we recently, as a board, applied for several different grants, and we were granted those grants, which is pretty awesome. The last one that we received was $549,333. It's a Justice and Mental Health federal grant from the Bureau of Justice. That grant actually began on October 1st of last year. I think they let us know on September 30th maybe that we got that grant. And it goes through 9/30 of 2026, so it's a 3-year grant. Now with that grant, we can do many exciting things. We can fully fund for 3 years the social worker deputy at the jail, a full-time peer recovery specialist at community corrections and probation, and pay for some residential treatment beds at the New Hope Treatment Center at Life Spring when that opens in a few months here. So along with this grant is a requirement that we need to have a part-time project manager. There is funding in this grant for that part-time project manager also. So we worked together to create a part-time project manager description, which is what was handed out to you. So today I'm asking you to create this position. This person will manage not only this federal grant, we also have the state opioid grant, and then some other like local, we have an Indiana Office of Court Services grant that we want to add in there that was $60,000. So we need somebody to help us with this. Wyatt and I are kind of drowning. I think Chad knows this. We've had several conversations. There's a lot of requirements that go along with these grants. We have our full-time jobs, and then we have this added on top, so does Sandy. So we've had several conversations that we need some help, and we got to get this funded and get somebody started to help us manage these. But that is their main job. I foresee that this position could be a full-time position at some point. I'd like to see how it goes with the part-time part and what we could add on, and maybe even open it up to the county as a whole at some point if we can get a full-time person. Right now, the money is there to have a part-time project manager for these JRAC grants. That's what we have the monies for right now. But I would like this person to explore some further options too whenever we do put it out there and hire him. Now, I will tell you, we tried a couple of years ago. We had some funding to hire a full-time project manager for a grant that we had, and we couldn't find anybody to do the job. So hopefully, I know we have a couple people in mind for this part-time position. We'll advertise it and we'll see what we get, and hopefully find somebody with that experience that we need and get all the details on that worked out. So we have it created here. The salary range is the PAT 4, anywhere from $22.96 to $29.51. I guess I would like to see that based on their experience. They have a lot of experience, be at that higher range. If they have less experience, at the lower range. The hours for this person, I don't have anywhere to put this person. Basically, we have the 3rd floor courtroom office that might be available 2 or 3 days a week, but we're starting to use that courtroom a lot more. Community Corrections has an office that they might be able to let this person go into part-time. So I foresee this person moving around where they're needed, and I think they could do some of the work from home. Now, with that being said, we have to hire somebody that we trust and is going to do what they need to do, that we don't have to monitor a whole lot and oversee.
And I would intend to be part of the process of the hiring. Mark is part of the process. And I think it's important that I don't like the government is run this way, but granting and managing grants is a reality of what we do, and we need to have people that can do that work. So in this case, we're lucky that there's funding behind it, so I don't know that there's much that I can argue about on this one. I think we take what we can get, and I think what we get, that sounds bad, but we take advantage of what we have in front of us, and we see how it goes. It would really help out. Hopefully it would take some burden off of Sandy and Slamford and Wyatt.
Well, we don't want to miss a recording or something that's required just because it's not something we're familiar with.
Let somebody else focus on it.
So we're $500,000. It's a lot of money. And I have to say, there's so much more grant money out there. If we had somebody that was dedicated to writing those grants and managing those grants, we could have a plethora of things in our county. I mean, we just really could. It's just a lot to oversee them.
Yeah, sometimes you don't want to take $100,000 from someone because of the baggage that comes with it. We've had that experience with with some things. So
Yeah.
after a while, you're thinking, wow, we shouldn't have even messed with this money because it's, but if you have somebody that can stay on top of it, it would help a lot. You think, Commissioner Stefano?
I think it's a great idea. I mean, we want to make sure that we meet all the deadlines that are required for it and everything else. So I think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Great.
In that case, I'll make the motion that we approve the position of the JRAC project manager for the extended time that funding is available for it.
I'll second.
Any other discussion?
No?
Now we'll clarify when I say funding, I mean the grant fund that you pay for it. So, that change anybody's mind?
That's just.
Okay. So, all in favor of the, or I'll move that we approve it, you second it. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries?
It would be a pet.
Yes.
Mhm.
And Marky was involved in creating the job description.
And so, funding wise, are the funds, like this is what, $25,000
A year.
per year? Are those funds, have they been fully appropriated from the council already, or do you have to go to them and ask for
I
it?
do need to go to the council, and there is another step in the granting process. So when we put in for this grant, we had worked with the sheriff and it was called a social worker for the jail. So now that it needs to be changed to deputy/social worker, we've had to go back in and do some grant amendments.
Mhm.
And those have been found to be kind of cumbersome. So we're working through all that right now. And until we get that totally approved, the budget can't be funded for this grant. So I think we got everything we need. On Friday, I got something back saying that they approved the last amendment that we did because it changed the budget, it changed the scope of the grant, it changed a few different things. So I think we can move forward and hopefully we'll get that budget soon approved. Once we get that, all the money can be drawn down. For the first year, we can draw down 100,000 even before we can fund these different positions to have the planning implementation of the grant. That's our next phase with it. So hopefully our goal is by June to have monies and create these positions to start. Now, if we don't use them all within the 3 years, because we're already 2.5 years into it by that point, a little more, usually they allow us to ask to have it extended for 6 more months. Because we didn't find out to September 30th that we got it to start October 1st. So,
Right.
so they expect that.
I agree. I think this will be a help.
Definitely.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and do our highway reports. Mr. Berg? Did you, Andrew, did you need anything else from us, or you're just kind of hanging out?
I was gonna hang, unless anybody wants me to stay and.
I was gonna say, our board doesn't need anything additional from you. I just don't want to waste your time and have you sit here, but you're welcome to stay as long as you like.
Okay, how long does this go for?
We are gonna be, we have somebody that asked us, we're in at 11:15 now, so we have at least another hour.
Okay, I gotta get back to Louisville, so. I'm gonna leave my card and flyer over here though, if anybody wants to grab those, and I'll follow up. If you guys have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you for coming down, and I appreciate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna go heat my car up. Thanks, guys.
All right. Item 1, I met with Michael Costello last week and addressed some concerns from some of the landowners that were discussed during the meeting that was held last month. He's looking at some solutions into a few things that are within the permit area and are a result of the mining, and is going to incorporate any fixes that might be pertinent in that final draft plan. So he did state that he is looking into filing emergency relief on the Portersville West high wall, thinking that work could possibly begin within the next 4 or 6 weeks. He was going to bring his own people out of, I think they're out of Kentucky, to come up and to start work on that so that can get addressed and taken care of. Technically, he can't hire a contractor until all of the landowners have signed off, and then they can go ahead and put that contract into play, and then the bonding company would pay the contractor for the work done, so.
So are you saying he has to get all those signatures first, or the emergency request will allow him to work without the contract?
The emergency request will allow him to work without the contract, just on the Portersville West area. Because that's one of the high priorities that we're looking at, so.
Has he talked to the landowners, any of them?
I met with Dennis Schnaus
Mhm.
out there with Michael, and then he had his contractor with him as well. We were looking at several areas where there was drainage that came across the mine area. A lot of it needed to be cleaned up because it was causing backup on, well, in particular, one of our drainage culverts that actually sits full of about 3 foot of water. We've got a flat bottom culvert, and it's not draining away. When we get a heavy rain, it all backs up. The water actually goes over the top of our road, and it's cutting out the east side of that road bank. So that's one area that I fully intend to get corrected. I know the DNR has their restrictions on how they put ditches and everything back, but it can't cause us harm by what they're doing in that mine. So that's my stance on it. But he's still working on the rest of it, and I think we had a good conversation with Mr. Schnaus and a few of the others that they had some concerns, so everything's moving forward.
Yeah.
Next item, decommission a dirt loader. Due to the purchase of the recent dirt loader, I'd like to decommission and remove from inventory our 1986 AT dirt loader and retain possession of it only as a parts warehouse. So, the engine is gone, the transmission's gone, but there's other pieces on there, rollers, belt, different carriage, units and stuff, that can help us out in a parts exchange, so.
So Sandy, with what he's saying, does it really come out of the inventory until we get rid of it?
I'll have to ask, Dr. Kistopher, question how you part it out. Maybe we remove it and just say use for parts. I don't know.
Yeah, that or junk, I'm not even sure.
Because like, does this thing have a title on it?
Is it necessary to take it out of the inventory then? I mean,
Well, you'll no longer have it
right, it won't
if
be.
you take it apart.
I just want to do whatever's easiest so we can get for
Because
tracking.
I know like with vehicles, you retire the title if you're gonna part it out, you know what I mean? You know,
This thing here, I don't know if it's half of a piece of equipment, does it need to be on it?
right, we'll have to ask, and he'll tell us.
Okay.
I don't think the board is gonna feel real strongly one way or the other, are we? What you
Poor
doing?
thing.
So, yeah, just work with the auditor's office, please.
Yeah, there are some parts on there that would be valuable only as a parts replacement. Outside of that, it'll bring us some scrap iron
I think it's done.
money at that time, so, since we don't have shelves to put a lot of those pieces, it's gonna be sitting out there and we'll take what we need when we need it, so. Next item is the 2024 hourly equipment rates. These are something that we put together every year. We don't want to take a look at those. I usually look on the FEMA rates that they charge for issues where there is like storm damage, that type of thing. And these rates they show what the value of the piece of equipment is. Those rates do not include the cost of an operator. That would be in addition, as well as any material costs being used for that piece of equipment. That's all extra.
I would assume it's an increase from last year. I don't remember the
It's the same.
same as last year. I had to go through it. So, okay, I'll move that we approve the 2024 equipment rates.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Okay. We normally attempt to hire 2 helpers for vegetation control. Really haven't had much success. I know we did some adjusting to some of the rates last year. What I'm planning on doing, I've contacted the local school districts and asked for a few minutes of their time to actually go into the school, talk with the class out of the FFA, or if they've got a job fair or something like that, to talk in front of the students, kind of tell them about the position that's open, kind of sell the county a little bit, and tell them what the job pays and everything. Just try to generate some personal interest, I believe, and I guess recruit, for lack of a better term. So I've spoken with all of them. We're working on times where we can actually get in and talk with the students and go from there. So what I'm also looking at doing too, we're wanting 2 helpers for the vegetation control. I'm also looking to hire a 3rd person that could run our other boom mower, which has a route that's going to basically run in the Jasper Huntingburg area. There's going to be about 90 miles on this particular route. It's going to be mowing a little bit more than on its current route right now, and that's going to help everybody else make their round a little bit quicker. Get into the summertime, especially with some rains, the weeds grow pretty quickly. So with this one here, I'm figuring with a 90-mile route, this position could work anywhere from 32 to 40 hours a week. I'm looking at 37 and a half, at least for right now. I think we can make an entire round once a month and help keep everything mowed down locally here. So,
Does that 3rd position exist?
pardon?
Does that exist? The third part-time person exist?
Not yet.
So the other 2 part-time helpers, I think, has been created. You've used them historically. I don't think we had them last year, right?
No.
So you're wanting us to create a position?
Not so much outside of just, I guess basically it would be. It's basically a part-time mower position.
Part-time seasonal?
Seasonal, yes.
Let's say the position had already been created. Would you trust a high school kid with the boom mower? Is that what you're expecting?
That, or if we can find some retired person, but I've been putting feelers out there with several people. I do have somebody that's considering it,
Potentially.
and he does have an ag background, so.
Go with that then.
So do you have to have an 18-year-old to drive, or I don't know what our insurance says?
Pardon?
Do we have to have an 18-year-old to mow or drive?
I looked at, I think a 17 or 18-year-old
I don't know.
would be able to. I think there's restrictions as far as hours and the time of day that they can work.
What is the pay range for the 2 part-time helpers that have been vegetation control for?
Ranges, I've got 3 different ranges. I think the one is $15.50 an hour. I don't have it with me here. But that was basically somebody that had some ag experience, knows what Johnson grass and thistle and hemlock and everything looks like.
So they drive like a side-by-side and spray, is that what they do?
It would be in our vegetation truck, our ton truck. We've got a tank on the back. We've got 2 handheld pistols, one that can be shot out the driver's side, the other one out the passenger side, when we're looking at specific targeting of different vegetations. We've also got a boom sprayer out in front that's attached to the bumper itself, and we can broadcast larger areas, like Broadway control, that type of thing. So
So for that to work, do you need 3 people in the vehicle, a driver and then 2 gunners? Just a driver and a gunner?
The driver and a gunner, yeah.
So this helper would be just helping.
Pardon?
You'd have 2 trucks going and these 2 helpers are each in one truck, or?
No,
they'd be
there'd
doing
be
it
2 people
themselves?
in one truck.
One driver, one person spray.
If we're driving down the road and there's something on the left-hand side, they can, you can swing over and catch that, and the other one. That way you're driving the road in one direction and not having to turn around and come back. So, a lot of times on some of the county roads are not as busy, he can do that on the way down through or so. And the vehicle it's well lit, so.
Thing is, you get a high school kid, you're gonna have 1 year, and then you start over next year.
Probably, yeah.
So I'm not gonna be in favor of creating another position, but if we can find a way to use those 2 people, and if we need to increase the pay to make it that we can get somebody that's qualified to mow, and we need that, I can work with you on that. I don't think we're in the market of adding another position. That's my.
If you add a 3rd position, is line item total gonna change? I mean, these are under part-time help, right? So they just have one line item total.
Yeah.
If you hire 3 people, the pay's not gonna change. It's just the number of people who get paid. Okay, that, I don't have an eye, or, I don't have a.
I'm okay with the 3rd position. And let me know when you do the job fair as far as the schools and stuff like that. Reach out to me. I'd like to know what that is.
Okay.
Okay, so, if we're gonna create a position, we're gonna need a job description, we're gonna need
Or would it be the same job description you have for part-time summer help?
That person would actually be the mower. He'd be that mower runner.
Okay, so maybe instead of creating the position today, get with Marky, discuss that, get that written up, and then we can discuss it at the next meeting.
So what's the guy who did it last year gonna do?
Well, the person that was doing it last year was doing it for a whole lot fewer hours. And basically that was our extra mechanic. He would run, especially during the summertime, he'd probably run, what do you think, Brent, 25, 30 hours a week maybe?
Yeah, well, he'd run 2 weeks, he'd work in the shop for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
he'd run 2 weeks, work in the shop for 2 weeks.
And the new mechanic doesn't wanna do that, or there's
No,
a
no,
mechanic
no.
work?
Fell behind, mechanic work fell behind because we only have 1 guy in the shop, 1 thing breaks down. You're in trouble.
And I've also added to the route to help the others get around a little bit quicker. It's just, in order to help us do a better job. If we can't put the hours to it, then, we'll have to change the route.
So to his point, if there's $10,000 of part-time help, you're gonna spend $10,000. It doesn't matter if it's over 20 people or 1 person.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what you're getting at?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yep, I guess if you wanna work through the process with Marky, it sounds like at least 2 of the commissioners will approve it, so you have that confidence that if there are people who you're gonna start shopping the job to, you can do that. It'd be tentative until it's officially created, but I think it looks like you have approval to move forward with that. That's unfair?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, on the back of the report that I handed you is the list of the gravel road conversion list. 2 weeks ago, I went out and we reevaluated everything where people came in and they did the right-of-way dedication that's been approved, and they're on that current list. The roads ranked from 3 on down are set in an order that is decided by the evaluation score. I think we had one change after that, where one road did leapfrog another one. I've got projected start dates on those, estimated finish dates. But you can see there, that's where that's the new list for this current year. We're planning on doing 500 east this year. Next year would be 800 west, 700 south, and 825 west. And then once that is complete, then everything goes off of the evaluated score. I think those first 2 was the first come, first serve.
So was it our last meeting where we had to ask for additional funds to finish 500 east? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
And did they approve that?
I haven't talked with them yet.
Okay. I didn't know.
You meet next week.
But that's still the idea, right?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
And on the page behind it, just for an FYI, I usually stay in touch with those people. And with each of those projects, there's a dedicated representative where we can have discussion, and they'll usually call to find out where they're at. So after I run the road and put the new evaluation together, you can see this is a sample or a letter that I had sent to one of them, but they all get a letter letting them know where the road currently stands, and based on increases in material costs, any increases or decreases in funding will obviously change the projected start and finish dates. So that's always subject to change. So that's basically the letter that I send to them. So that way they're all on board and know where they're at. So.
What's DNP stand for?
Pardon?
DNP?
Dirt and paving.
Okay. That's why I'm paving up here. I didn't know what, so that means you'll have basically the prep work for the work and then paving. Okay.
So, do you have any questions on that?
And what is the yearly ask again? Is it 150?
125.
So I think my suggestion to you might be if you have the funds available to in the budget to maybe just try to get those other 3 done next year. Was that your idea, or are we just gonna do the one?
If we get the additional revenue, we would finish 500.
Right.
And then 2025, I think that whole road can be done in 1 year. Most of the width is already there. It's just a matter of getting the base down and getting it resurfaced. I think that can all be done in 1 year.
Because it looks like a total of about 150,000. I didn't know if you were gonna have to ask for additional money.
That's possible. Like I said, as far as the base goes, I've got an estimate number up there. Sometimes we hit that estimate, sometimes we're well under it. But it's just it's an average number that I use. So if the base is pretty decent, obviously we don't need as much stone, but that's all subject to change.
Yeah.
It's just an estimate. Okay. Next one up, I think I handed out the activity summary. I think you all have them down below. I'm not gonna go through it outside of just pointing out where everything is at. But basically, it's everything that we did during 2023. The first page basically shows all the hot mix projects that we did along with seal coat projects. Those would have been mostly the Rejuvetech and asphalt materials did come in. We did one project with them. The next page, we're looking at all the chip seal overlays. Then the other projects where the chip seal was done on certain areas. The next one actually shows the evaluated score, which was from last year. Okay. So, and then following that is the patching and rehab. That was all the areas where we had suspect spots that were dug out and filled with stone and then repaved, or areas where we actually went in with our road grader and ripped up areas and put base down and repaved those. So that's all on there. I've got a column there for new bridges, culvert replacements, center line and fog striping that was done, any reconstruction of intersections and road bridges, which we actually didn't have any this year. Road sign and road marker improvements, that's all in there based on townships. And then on the bottom of page 6 basically shows where the money was spent.
Do we do all the center lines and fog striping in now?
Yes, that's all I have. We get a quote every winter for what our gallon of paint's gonna cost. We also add glass to it. When our striper's going down the road, it shoots the wet paint down, and it also injects glass on top of the paint so it reflects better. Okay.
Are there requirements from the state on a county road that certain ones have to have striping, the other ones don't?
I don't believe so. I think we have our own standard that says, basically we stripe everything that is a hot mix road. And any road that has traffic counts above 900, get the fog line. Okay. And that's just what the county has. So, and then beyond that, when you go back, you can basically see, I break it down with townships to show what all work was done in each of the townships. So this is just good reading material for you. That way you see what we have done. And the final one that I've got. Does anybody have any questions on that?
Not yet, no.
Okay. Okay, and the last one I've got is basically our projected paving schedule. Yeah, that's this one here. This will take a little bit to go over, so I thought I'd just kind of walk you through it. This first page is assumptions of what our additional appropriations appear to be. Now this, yeah, I think you should have a. There it is.
Oh.
Yeah, now we're not done. I think, our numbers usually match, but this is kind of what I'm assuming right now, and that's subject to change based on once all the numbers are final. Okay, as far as our additions. So, what you're seeing highlighted down here are numbers of what our estimated additional appropriations can be for paving purchase of equipment or what have you. We go to the next page, you're gonna see where those numbers translate to the top of the page. And then down below, you can see, numbers that I usually need to, ask for additional, equipment, repair and tires, 60,000 is usually what we end up having to put in there. If we do a part-time, person, they need, 15,000 for that. Stone, we were gonna look to move 180.
So that goes back to the point of what we talked about earlier. It's not just within the existing budget. They're saying that it would cost an additional 15,000. So it's not just part-time people. It's not the funding for the part-time people being spread between three. It's potentially a $15,000 addition.
Well, a lot of times when we do his budget, we don't know those exact dollars. It's like you said, we got more money earlier. Well, he does the same thing, so then he takes that and then does additions to fill in the spots. Because we don't always know his exact revenue stream until now. We should know it.
So I just want to bring that up because I think that's different than how I was taking it earlier. Okay. Does that change your opinion on the additional position you got?
Instead of leaving a big operating balance sitting there that they can't use, this way they can use that money towards these projects and these roads.
Okay. Anything else on this page?
What we're gonna move for paving is, 1,300,000. Out of NVH, 632,000 would be, in local road and street. And since we're talking about, basically paving, I'm not gonna worry much on the sanitation side. This will be coming up in next meeting, so. If we go to the next page, you can see there's columns for, NVH, bituminous NVH paving projects, local road and street bituminous, local road and street paving projects. Basically, the paving projects one is where contracts are let for paving, whether it be to CalCar or even our Rejuve Tech people that put that product down. So if you look at the NVH paving projects, you can see the I've got it circled in orange there. It's 335,000 that's shaded in blue and 127 in green. Those are estimated matches for community crossings and the additional money that we're going to need to take care of the total cost of the distressed road projects that we're looking at. Okay. So anything that's left over would cover these projects. Fine. That's what we're starting on. That's our starting balance, and then we're taking these projects out. So you can see we've got 700 north, 200 west, 600 west, and a little wedge project on 900 east. Those would come out of MBH bid.
I still like the idea that we're improving those sites, Hayesville and Pine Ridge Hollows. I still think that's a good thing. I think it's helped significantly in Jasper.
Yes, and one other thing I like about it as well, when we were putting material down Saturday, actually went around to each of those sites and we put salt and sand. You can't do it on gravel because it'll make it soft. But since it's paved, we can put salt and sand down and try to melt, and make it safer for the people that get out of their vehicle and stuff like that. So we were able to do that to those that have been paved already. So I can see that that's going to help us out a lot. The 425 North project, the one with Ann Mariner.
Oh, yeah,
That's in here as well.
okay.
Obviously, we've got the Liquid Road, There is no liquid road this year. The Rejuvex chip seal overlay estimate costs, chip seal patching estimate costs. That's District 1. District 2, obviously, we've got the green and the blues, and those are those community crossings and distressed roads. We're looking at 15th Street and the paving of Meridian Road. That would take us down to basically 15th Street. Since we had to pull 190 north, we felt that at least for right now it would be practical just to go to or just past 15th Street and stop. And
Does 190 north start north? Is that?
Right at the bottom of the corner, right on the corner.
Yeah. So when we've got the money to do 190 north, we'll finish Meridian basically north of 15th. Okay. And then we've got the Pine Ridge site on there as well. And then in District 3, we're looking again at those community crossings and distress roads. So the Holland site is also in here. The 500 East paving project, it's estimated it's going to take about $84,000 to pave the entire location. I think we had 45,000 estimated to stone. So I'm probably looking at about another 70,000 roughly to get that all done this year. That's what I would ask for. Okay. So having said all of that, the yellow column at the bottom, those show our balances. We're all in good shape there. So on those columns. And then just to put a more focused view on it, the pages behind that, you can see the targeted roads that we're looking at. 600 North is one that we pulled because the money isn't there for it. If you want to look back at the following page, it shows the roads in District 1 that were targeted. Anything that's highlighted is going to be included in this year's paving plan. Bold print, but they're not highlighted. We need to do those. So those are roads that we're going to be focusing on in the near future, whether it's next year or the following year, based on the monies that we've got. So this is basically our patient plan. Okay. And the same can be said with District 2 and District 3. If you go on back beyond here, you can see what the pictures look like and the other ones as well.
When did we do Division Road? When did we last?
3 years ago, I believe.
And it's still in 9 shape? We're gonna spray it to keep it there?
Yes. And I've seen a lot of good with that product. Basically, it freezes the clock, I should say. You know, the sun, heat, is all detrimental. Road surface and water as well. This here rejuvenator actually gets in there, puts the chemical back in that the sun and the heat actually takes out. It actually seals the road off to help keep the water from penetrating in. So it does a lot of good things. And when you look at the road, I know we had looked at them earlier on a few of them several years back that had cracks in it. After we put the treatment down, the cracks did not grow, and we didn't see any additional ones for at least a couple of years. So it visually does make sense. I'm sold on it.
Has the culvert worked on Meridian been done? Well, I know the one, or both of them done?
Weather screwed us.
So you got the first one done, but not the second?
I noticed the date was on the sign and then the date wasn't on the sign.
Yeah, we had weather coming in and that's a fairly deep one, I believe, isn't it, Brent?
About 12, 15 feet deep.
So it was gonna, with the moisture coming in, it was gonna cause us some difficulty, so we decided to wait. Now that we've got, frozen ground, we're probably gonna be several weeks back before we can actually get in there and do the work, so. We will put the dates back up once we decide it's time to go, and that will be on the radio again. So.
I got that road separate today.
So when you redo Meridian Road, are you gonna take it just a little bit to the north? To cover up that,
About 100 feet.
About 100 foot.
100 feet past Salt Running.
I don't know why I asked these questions. If I thought of it, you probably thought of it twice by then, so.
Well, it's good to ask, that way, you know, we all know, and there's.
But it's good for you to confirm that you don't do it.
Yeah.
I like it.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't have
Yeah, ready to go
Okay.
there. He's with his key.
So did you wanna go through some more items?
Yeah, if you guys wanna, look at your.
Which page?
Yeah, the next, just in front of us here. Okay, yeah, these are roads that, we're gonna be blacktopping. That there is with the distress road money, that's the $1 million interest-free loan.
Okay.
These blue ones are the community crossings grant that we're gonna be applying for and getting, hopefully. These here, I pulled. We just
How much have it
pulled? We didn't have money. These in the white, those are the ones that we're looking to do. The Meridian Road amount is the amount of paving it's gonna take to go basically from the city limits of Jasper, which is where the apartments are. It's not gonna be going from State Road 164, begin where the city starts, and then go on down 100 foot past 15th. Okay. This one here shows all of the Rejuve-Tech and the chip seal overlays. This is what I call surface treatment area, and those are the costs here. What we've got here is the roads that are in bad shape or that need repair, whether we're ripping the road up or digging bad spots out and getting them replaced. Those will all be resurfaced as well. So estimates. And then just to give you an idea, sometimes people ask why we're, picking some roads and not the other. This page here shows for every township, here's Bainbridge, there's Marion. Here, I'll take that. Any road that's listed, let's take Bainbridge for instance, any road that's on this list is a road that's at least 10 years old pavement wise, or that has a PACER rating of 5 or less, okay? These are target roads that we want to look at sooner than later to focus on, but anything that's bolded is a PACER rating of 5 or less. So we obviously want to start paying attention to getting these taken care of, okay?
If you look at the years, I can imagine
Yeah.
shape like that.
And some of them, when you look at the years, yeah, a lot of them are old, but there's some of them that are older than others that just doesn't have the traffic on it. Okay. But that kind of shows the method to our madness here.
You say 10 years or?
10 years or with a PACER rating of 5 or less.
That's when they start showing up.
That means a road is
Says that up there on top.
in bad shape. Yeah, it's
Underneath District 2, it says.
Yesterday. Well, we weren't here.
They did it
So if
yesterday.
anybody talks to
Today
you,
he's
wants to know
brothers
why
were
they're
trying to help people.
broken, this is what we take a look at.
Somebody that are missing jobs.
And this is derived every summer, beginning of July, I'll go ahead and I'll start running. I drive every road in every township, okay? And then based on that pacer rating, I put those new numbers in here. Anything that's 10 years old is gonna stay on here. And some of these, some of these are 6s, that's why, or 7, that's why it's not highlighted. It's an old
So their
road.
funnels and their
But
drops.
it's still a 7,
I told you that.
okay? But once you start falling into here, 5s, 4s, 3s, those are the ones that we wanna focus on, okay? And when you see these here, like this, well, that's not, I don't think there's any 4s in here that we haven't
I mean, it's
accounted
great.
for. So all these 5s, some of these will, likely be 5s next year. A few of them could be 4s, but that's gonna dictate the ones that we have to pay attention to and get done. So every road that's in basically the District 2 area, we've got some of Columbia, some of Hardison, Jackson Township, Jefferson Township. When you take a look at this here, that's what it costs to pave everything on this list. That's what it costs to pave everything with at least a 5 pacer rating or less. So it's a lot of money. But by spending,
No, we don't have that much money now.
by spending the money that we do spend on the reduced tax or chip seal overlay, it's dimes saving dollars. We're trying to keep our good roads good. So, any questions on that?
Do either of you need more time to digest the?
I'd be happy to sit down with anybody.
You have.
Yeah, you guys will come in, talk to us about it,
You have
and review them, go on drives, what do you guys want to do?
the loader charts.
This is,
Steve and I have been out on the roads, he showed me,
yeah,
I can
And-
better understand.
and this gives everything some justification when
Yes.
people are asking questions.
Yes.
And you can refer to this, and it's just a common sense way of how we do it, so. And it also tells you that, when you look on the back of those, pacer pages and, let me go to the District 2 ones, because I'm basically there anyway. All of the roads in that district that have a pacer rating of under 6, if we wanted to take care of all of those this year, it would cost us $2.6 million.
That's just one district.
That's one district, yeah. So it's a big investment out there. And that's where we're trying to focus on keeping the good roads good. And that little bit of money that we do spend on it helps push these paid dates back. And I'd be happy to sit down with any of you.
A great chart, Steve, explains it well.
Did we generally approve this, or do we wait 2 more weeks in case somebody?
I think let's wait. This is kind of what we're targeting on right now. If we have a bad winter where there's a lot of freeze and thaw and rain and roads start blowing up, there's gonna have to be some changes made because the patching portion here actually is gonna go up. You know what I'm saying? It's those roads that we're gonna rip up and dig up, there's gonna be more of those, so that's gonna go up. So in order to do that, either we have to ask for additional money or we have to cut another paving project. That's how that works.
The distressed road and the community crossings are kind of set in stone because we have to make a plan for those and they fund, that's state federal funding.
Sure.
But the rest of it gets a little more fluid.
We can spend our money the way we want to.
And I think it makes sense that we focus on all of, the chip seals and everything, because that's our transportation plan. So if we have to get some of those fixed in shape and it costs us a blacktop road, then that's all we can do
outside of going to the council and getting additional money for those roads. And there was one year we actually did, I think we had a year, can't remember the date on it now, but we actually went in and got an additional $1 million just to take care of those rips.
It was 2014, that was my first year.
Yeah, it was a bad year. So. All right.
All right, I think we're in good shape for today on that. Mr. Wilson, what can we do for you today? Are you supposed to be on the agenda?
I'm on the agenda.
You are, or are you?
Yes, you are.
I'm on the agenda.
You're not on mine, so I apologize.
You have a previous one, you didn't print the revised one. He
Amended
called me
agenda.
after I sent it,
What time was he supposed to
About
be
4
here?
minutes after
Right now.
7:15.
Oh, well, excellent.
and I told Ryan, because I knew he wouldn't take long.
I'm here today to seek permission to hire a candidate that has been, I had a two-phase process with her. She was in our previous process that we had exhausted. She was our third pick out of 3. And we brought her back in and we did additional testing that we implemented for 911 that's far more significant. And she performed at an acceptable level. She has verbally accepted an informal job offer. I think I sent an email Friday, it was maybe, with her information, Gretchen McCrary. She currently dispatches at an adjoining county center. I look forward to having somebody that will maybe be a little faster through training. Overall updates, we do have 2 relatively new hires that are out of training. Matthew Kemper is most recently out of training. He was hired in August. And then Luis Lugo was hired at the very end of May. He is also out of training. We did have a resignation over the weekend, unfortunately. One of our newer hires, Connie Walker, has resigned. She just, she was overwhelmed with the position and the amount of work and the speed at which it comes to you. So Connie started with us on November 20th. We don't have a lot of time invested in her yet, thankfully for us. And we both agree, she agrees. She's leaving, but it's on good terms. I really like Connie. Unfortunately, the job is not for her. So we have no candidates left. I have a couple of applications. We're likely to run an ad. I think that's going to occur after February 1st. I have a substantial amount of work to do outside of hiring processes that has deadlines for the end of this month. And I'm just gonna have to hire, she's gonna have to wait for a couple weeks while I finish up some other state requirements and some local requirements with our timekeeping and just boss work that we have to do. So look for an ad running sometime in February. But for today, I'd like permission to hire Gretchen McCrary with a begin date of February 12th. So Monday, the start of the pay period.
I'll move that we approve the hiring of Gretchen McCrary as requested.
I'll second.
Any other comments? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. What is just to refresh my mind, what is the starting salary of a person with 0 experience?
Annually, it's $48,440 this year.
So $48,000?
Yes, without overtime, or without holiday pay, which there will be, whether you want there to be or not. There is a certain amount of holiday pay that's flexible, depends on how those holidays fall. Typically, the holiday pay is about $2,500 a year. I think the minimum it could be is about $2,200. The maximum it could be is about $3,100. So somewhere around $2,500. So I would look for a new hire to make $50,000 to $51,000 annually. Which
And the thing too that I would think that we could put in our ad for this time, that I don't know that we've done it. Sometimes we make our ads really complicated and they would scare a person from applying.
Right.
And I've read some of me knowing the position within the county, and I'll read it, I'm like, oh, if I was an applicant, I don't know if I'd feel so if we would say, high school, the right person, we will train the right people. I mean, you just gotta be sharp. You don't have to have,
Yeah, unfortunately, our young people have not,
they haven't panned out.
they
Some of
have
them.
not had really high hopes last year for a recent graduate. We have a 20-year-old in training right now. They're challenging. They're young.
But a person in their early 20s, let's say college didn't work out for them, we have an example.
Yep.
I mean, you can come in and get $50,000 your first year. Your minimum requirement is you have to be able to fulfill the minimum duties, but you have to type at a certain level that isn't too extreme.
Right.
I mean, I've met that. I've tested myself.
Sure.
I mean, for the right people, we'll train you on the job. So if we put the pay, minimum requirements, and I think that might make it a little more attractive to people.
There's 4 aspects that are negatives.
Schedule.
Working weekends and holidays. Working nights. High stress work environment and fast paced work environment. And those 4 things, one of those 4 things is always the reason somebody leaves us. No matter if they've been with us for 6 weeks or they've been with us for 10 years. And there is no way to undo any of those 4 things, unfortunately. It is the nature of the beast. It is, we have fewer and fewer people that want to work unconventional work schedules. We just got to keep searching for those right candidates. Now, we were more successful last year than we were the year before, so I'll take that as a win. We haven't lost an employee since August of last year. That's the longest stretch that we've had since I've been at 911, and for the year leading up to that, we also didn't have a stretch that long, so I'll count my blessings that we are in better shape now than we were. We still have 2 open spots. We have a new hire yet to be filled. We have this most recent opening, which technically is a new hire from last April. So those spots still unfilled. So we've been, we're almost a year. We're gonna keep working through it.
What were you gonna say, Commissioner Hostetter?
I was just gonna say the one worry I would have about leading with the pay is that you'll get a lot of applicants.
We do.
But you're not gonna get a lot of
Quality applicants. Yeah, that's what we suffer with Indeed, which is why it's so time consuming to weed through the applicants. And that's why it's just gonna have to wait till February. We can run that ad on Indeed for 2 weeks and it will be a week's worth of work for me or whoever is doing the work. It could be Kim, it could be me, it could be Emily Lewis. There's some team effort there, but we have to look at criminal backgrounds on every single applicant before we even bring them into the center. We want to bring them in and we want to talk with them and have an informal meeting with them and let them see our operations. It's all very time consuming. Between the building project and other just yearly requirements, monthly requirements. It's just gonna have to wait a minute and that's okay. It's gonna give 2 of our trainers a little bit of a break for, I don't know, at least a few weeks, which is a good thing. We have 2 people that have been training for a year and a half nonstop. They need a break. To be partnered up with one individual every day for a year and a half, that's a pretty tough work environment, and we need to not burn them out. So it's not all bad. And just a minute here where everybody can just take a breath.
Where do we advertise besides like the local papers and things like that? You mentioned Indeed. Do you put anything out like in Vanderbilt County or anything like that? Somebody that would be willing to relocate?
I think we're on hometown hiring, right?
We are on hometown
Facebook.
hiring when we are on Free Press, which has a pretty big draw. They can sell their services too. Tell them how many clicks they have on that. It's a lot. It's a shocking amount. Indeed brings us the most applicants, and we do have very good candidates. Matthew Kemper, who came to us and is just a superstar employee with 2 CPR saves since he's been with us. A pretty amazing, very interesting guy. He saw our ad on Indeed. So that gives me faith that we need to do that as
No, I
exhausting as the
agree. I
process
just didn't
is.
know we needed to go out.
But you also get the stuff like Mr. Hostetter said where
Oh, you
apply with 1 click.
I'll get 60 applicants.
Sometimes on Indeed, you get a blank one.
Yep.
Or 5%
With just their name on
I get a lot of people, I get a lot of applicants with criminal history, which we can't even consider.
Right.
Yeah. people who are actively on probation or parole, and people with felony convictions. Can't have those people. They wouldn't be able to meet the criteria that we require. They wouldn't be able to have access to the data that we have. So we get a lot of job seekers that are just filling it out to fill it out to meet requirements.
All right, anything else you need from us today, Mr. Wolf?
No, I don't think so. That's enough for today.
Anything else, Chris? No. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
All right, Mr. Young?
I was not on the agenda, so I appreciate you working on this. I got bid back for another remount yesterday. So I will get that to you. So basically, we went through the budget process last year. I had budgeted $400,000 to do either a new truck or a remount. What we have been seeing, to kind of recap, was the new trucks were about roughly 3 years out. The remount that we have going on right now is supposed to be done end of this month. It's looking like probably the second week of February before it'll be done. We had talked to them later in the year, last year, and they said they would pencil us in. Depending on the bid and all that type of stuff, they would go ahead and pencil us in. They had done that for September, now we're back to October. So everything from a standpoint of, I called on the new truck that we have. It was supposed to be done first of this year, March timeframe, and now they pushed it back. And I think the last time I talked to them was September now before they'd even start on. Anyway, long story short, the bid come in for $244,437, which is about a 14% increase from what it was the previous remount that we did. I did talk to the owner of the company, and he basically said, you know, this is not in our control. It's all the other pieces and parts from the chassis. Chassis are now being price increased quarterly. So, you know, he said we're not making that increase. It's all the parts and the pieces that come through to make that increase. So the total project, we had one of the new cots that we purchased in that price as well, on that $400,000, and we did order that before the end of last year to avoid the price increase, because they really increase at the beginning of the year. So we ordered that at the end of last year, and that was just over $49,000, so almost $50,000. So the total cost would be $294,000, which the last new one we did a year ago was $378,000. So you're looking at almost, probably close to $100,000 in savings from remount versus buying new.
This would only be our second remount?
Yes.
So if we do decide to move forward in this direction, I'd say this would be the last one we do until, I think it'll just work out this way on the calendar wise until we have some experience with them.
Right.
You hate to get two or three, get three of them in your inventory and 8 of them.
Which would give us time to, so we're at a point now where we've got 3 trucks that are, one of them's already being replaced, but the other one is close to $400,000, and the next one is like at $350,000, I believe, $320,000, $350,000, somewhere around in there. So by doing this remount and then getting that new one probably in next year, that will give us a little bit of a grace period to where we don't have a high mileage truck that we're worried about.
So this is a remount we already ordered?
No, we have not ordered this one yet, no.
The one we did order is gonna come in,
Mid-February.
And then the one we ordered newer, that you said is
Probably
October?
towards they probably won't start on that till September, and I honestly, they pushed it back 3 or 4 times, so if it gets started in September, I would be surprised.
Do you think our order is just getting bumped by other orders for some reason, or do you think that they're just behind?
I think they're behind. I think the strike on the automotive industry at the end of last year didn't help anything. And I think they're probably, everybody's in the same boat, so they're probably taking the orders that are 20 and 30 and pushing them through versus the single order strike.
Sure. Mr. Schneider, have you reviewed this bid?
Just received it now. If I recall at one of our meetings, we discussed, dispensing the typical procurement methods due to the emergency nature. Does that sound right to everybody?
Yes.
Do we recall when that was? I've looked at minutes. You were here, when were you here? You were here in November, but
November, I believe, yeah.
our minutes don't necessarily reflect that, so we would need to do that for this purpose.
I thought it was good.
Could be.
It would have been at the time of ordering the last one, which
And the
was,
council did it through their meetings too,
For this,
like say go ahead and pre-order it.
just to make sure the minutes reflect that we're doing a special purchase.
would you say that your preference is to try another remount or do the new one?
I
We're
think
looking at
we
years.
need to try another remount at this point because you're looking at least 3 years, you know. So if we did not do another remount, we would get a new one, probably first part of next year. That would replace the one that's 400,000, and then we've got another one with over 300,000. So then you're looking at probably another 1.5 years or so, 2 years to get that one replaced.
So hopefully we get the new remount next month, we get 6 months with it, we find that it works well, and then we can continue that process on the other old one.
Yeah. You know, the legwork that we went to talk to a couple different agencies that have remounts haven't really had extensive issues. You know, some of them, one of them was a multiple vendor, so this wasn't the first one that they did. So I feel pretty good about that. You know, the pictures I sent you, it looked like they had done a pretty extensive tear down, and so I think at this point it's our really only option.
Well, I thought the one that the council just did not too long ago was even 2025. I mean, can we talk about that?
I think so.
I'm trying to remember. Because they're just so far out.
I think we did.
Moving them out further.
So if we went forward with this one today, when would this one be again?
They would start it in October.
So there's your 2025.
But I thought that was one we already ordered. I can't.
I think so, but I'm not positive either.
The one we ordered, the first one, the new order was in 2023, I believe. And it was supposed to be done March of this year for 2024. And now they're saying they wouldn't start on it until September. We had a second one then the following year, I think, which that we ordered, and they're not even able to give me a deadline or a time frame on it.
Mr. Schneider, what do you suggest that we do? Do we need to just have it in the minutes, or is there something that needs to be written up?
In the minutes, I believe would be sufficient. I didn't find what we have done before. Wait a minute, I clicked around too much apparently.
And that works, the same company doing the current version.
Indiana Code 522-10-4 discusses, we may make a special purchase when there exists under emergency conditions that threaten public health, welfare, or safety.
say that code again?
5-22-10-4. I'll send that to you, Sandy.
As the board feel about proceeding.
And then the other one we had referenced before was 5-22-10-9 to make a special purchase. Purchasing the required supplies and services under another method would seriously impair the functioning of the agency.
I think it makes sense to go ahead and do it.
And I think we budgeted for this anyway.
Yes.
So this is, it's already in the budget, so.
Right. It was discussed in November. I think the same thing. I just added to the November minutes. So I'd like to have that in here.
So I just,
Commissioner Stepson,
I'll send that to you.
Well, I really don't think we have a choice. I mean, this is something that we need to do. I mean, at this point. I mean, we have to have what we have to have. I mean,
I mean, it may take another 4 years to correct.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the way, push back. I mean,
the problem is, what happens if we wreck a few of them and then we have nothing
for that.
I mean, it's happened.
Right.
Right, then you're leasing them.
And we did check into a loaner. This company has 2 loaners that they'll let you, but I think it was like, I can't remember now, but it was this like $750 a day, plus you have to provide insurance. And so it quickly ends up being,
I remember when Susan tried to do that and it was exorbitant.
It's cheaper than not having one. So, okay, I'll move that we, under the special purchasing rules referenced earlier in the meeting, approve proceeding with the bid with Networks in the amount of $244,437 for the remount.
Okay, we'll second.
Any other discussion?
one question, there is a, if we prepaid a chassis at time of contract signature, there's a $2,000 basically rebate. Is that something that, I mean, if the money's already budgeted and appropriated?
We typically don't prepay, you have to have the thing delivered before we would cut the check.
We confirm on that.
The bad thing is it'll end up costing us more,
I know.
but we'll get to hold on to the funds and invest them, so I think we'll probably
Is it
not.
$2,000 rebate?
Yep.
We'll probably make that up in interest.
For $75,000? Depending on what it takes, but we're not gonna do it, so.
I thought it was the full, sorry.
We have a first and a second. We didn't have any other discussion, I think, other than that. Do you have anything else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. So, thank you for bringing this in on as timely as you did. Stay warm.
So does that have to go to the council meeting too for that? Or since
It's already in the budget, so you should be fine.
Yep.
Because you're not going over the amount budgeted.
Right. All right, thank you,
Now, they've
Brian.
already given you the blessing.
All right, is there anything else on the agenda, formal agenda? I don't know, we have other stuff.
Brent
We got
has
Brent.
this stuff here.
Okay, let's do Brent. Anybody need a restroom break or anything? Lunch.
Eat your
Marky has a calzone in the refrigerator.
Eat your snack.
Okay. Safe Streets for All, nothing to report, they're moving along. I'm hoping they'll have something here next couple months, they got the ducks on the road there, so nothing to report. Dove Solar Park, we went over that earlier. Was there anything else we want to hammer out on that? Get Greg out to talk to them, so I do think they still plan on being here February 5th, but I don't see any issues there. Okay, Ireland intersection stop sign adjustment. I sent you guys an email last week concerning this ordinance. Have you guys had a chance to review it, and do you have any questions?
I've asked my question and I reviewed it, went up and drove through it. It seems fine to me.
Okay.
I didn't know if traffic. I think it's probably a small town, slow intersection,
It's a-
so it doesn't really.
Yeah,
make
it's
a
a
difference.
washed out width, yes, correct. Correct.
And if the commercial property owner there is fine with it being removed, and you said that they were, then I don't have an issue with it. If it was I would have assumed it would have been their request to put it there originally, but I don't know how that happened. But I'm okay with the change myself. Mr. Houstetter?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
I went out and looked at it as well, I'm fine with it.
Okay, so I've created an ordinance amending the original ordinance. Greg he gave me a whole new thing to do and all that stuff, but so he has reviewed it, obviously. I do recommend for approval, so I will need a motion and signatures, and then once that happens, I will.
Would it be
Yeah,
any change
advertised.
like this? There's no public hearing requirements, there's no,
For the last one we did, that was 9 years ago, we did not have a public hearing. We simply approved it, we advertised it in 2 hearings, or 2 publications. Then we put signs, we actually adjusted the sign right away, but it did not become legal. Nobody could get a ticket for it until it's been advertised twice.
after the fact, we advertise the whole ordinance as a new ordinance. This is your public notice now, you know. I think the only thing that we've changed significantly that I can recall since Commissioner Houstetter and I have been on board, we changed the parking on Du Bois. And same thing, I think we just gave notice.
Yeah,
Do you remember any other changes? I don't.
The one in St. Anthony was they took down a building, there was a stop sign because of lack of sight distance from a building. So we had 2 stop signs, but the fact that the building was gone, you could now see down the road. They took one away and addressed it. That was when Randy Fleck and Mary Palmer. And well, that was on there. That was a different board.
So 2024-01.
Yes.
Does anyone need more time to review the ordinance before voting on it?
And you're gonna give me a copy of this in Word, or you did send it to me already?
Not that I will, but
Because in Word helps me print in the minutes and not have to retype it.
I thought I did, but I may not have. I will.
I know you sent me something, but I don't know if this was in it.
Are we number 1? Have we not had a resolution or anything this year?
I'm aware of.
We've only met once.
So once this is signed.
We have a 2024, that's your salary ordinance, but we don't number it, we just say 2024. Because we do it in last year.
Yeah, once it's done, I will have Tim relocate those signs. We will put stop bars down. We will put flags on to notify the public that it's changed. And we will obviously advertise it for the public.
Okay, I'll move that we approve ordinance 2024-01, an ordinance amending all ordinances amendatory thereof, being an ordinance imposing a restriction upon vehicles operated on county roads in Madison Township in Du Bois County, Indiana. And just for the record, for the people that may be listening online, it's a moving of a set of stop signs from the northwest. I guess it is.
So currently, at the intersection of 250 North and James Street, the stop signs are set on James Street. So you would stop from the north, you'd stop from the south, and you'd yield the traffic on 250. We're going to shift it opposite of that. So now you will stop on County Road 250, east and west, and the northbound traffic on James Street will be the through traffic.
And this was done at the request of some local people to improve the flow of traffic and some large machines that drive that path. So I move that we approve ordinance 2024-01.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Anything from the public? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. So this one goes in.
Yeah, they're linked together, correct?
This is linked with it,
No,
or am I lost?
No.
No, there's a page that shows the intersections.
Yes. Do we put that attachment on?
We don't have to, those are my goals.
Okay. But this one is not.
That is the old one, yes.
Okay.
That was the original, the Greg had asked to be codified all of our ordinances, so that's why we links back to the codified ordinances.
Gotcha. So don't.
So this is the one you're talking about?
That was the original one I had wrote up, and then Greg slapped my hand. No. No, it makes sense.
This is what I'm dealing with.
Yeah, because they were codified and it links everything back together.
And you're signing copy, correct?
I guess codified is the right word. It is.
Yes, sir.
So they both look like they need. That's mine.
Okay, perfect.
And where was it?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think I have my seat down there, thank you.
I was saying,
I knew it looked incredibly important.
Yes, that's very important.
it's getting replaced this week. It's so important.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.
Okay, community crossing?
Okay, so for community crossings 2401, I had sent you guys an email concerning this. We have discussed, or Steve and I have decided that Ferdinand Road East, 350 South, San Anthony Road West, 450 South, Holiday Lake, and 815, we would group those projects together. It would give us roughly $1.4 million worth of work on community crossings. We could do that within our budget for our match, and it would also be like a original spring check.
Okay.
So with your blessing to go proceed with these projects, and then this would also be a financial commitment letter stating that we will support these projects and we will fund them if we are awarded. So I need your blessing to say, yep, we'll do those projects, and then a signature from Chad for the financial commitment.
So you get a copy and I get a copy of that.
Yes,
We usually do, we'll do the last time, yeah.
Anybody like to see it?
Yeah.
Okay. You happy with it?
I'm happy with your signature.
Thank you. Did you find out for sure it's gonna be $1.5 million this year?
It is $1.5 million this year. So, like I said, this will give a 335, 288.67 would be our match. That still stays within Steve's and I's budget. If we went to 1.5 million to the most, then that's more money out of our pocket that we have to try to match. It kind of busts our budget.
So in this case, if they said they don't approve one of the projects, they've done that before, haven't they?
They have, yes.
They said you'd come in.
It was not as one submittal. It was when we submitted. Before you had
Give
one
them a
road
package.
per submittal, and so for instance, I would do Ferdinand East as a submittal, then I would do, that's what it used to be done. Now it's, you bulk them all together. Since they have done where you bulk them all together, it's been all or nothing. We have not lost parts. I'm not going to now they may do that, but right now it's not.
It wouldn't be your plan to apply for another $150,000 later in the year?
No, not right now. I'd have to go before council.
So you're still
Request
doing
for
$1
extra
million.
funds. It's actually, yeah, I'm getting roughly $1 million, yes.
You didn't bump it up.
Because we still have to stay within our cash.
And I think we're finally done with our
Yeah,
other match,
fine,
so.
yeah.
So actually, I guess we're still leaving $500,000 on the table.
Yeah.
So I guess my thought would be to, keep an open mind about it. If I hate to leave money on the table.
But you gotta put money on the table that you don't have.
Right, I understand that, but
That's probably.
just keep it in mind while you're out doing the projects. I think I'd help you argue that if you found the right project, that I'd help argue with the council that let's take advantage of this. It's a big piece of our road funding.
And I'm happy to do that, I really am. I have no issue with that.
I mean, unless the board does this.
I'm just staying within our MVH money is what I'm doing.
So, I mean, what is it, 25%?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'd be giving up $500,000 for $125,000 of investment.
Right.
So $600,000 worth of roads.
Were any of the grading roads work in there?
Any of the what, I'm sorry?
The roads on our chip seal or
Oh,
that paving list.
I think that would qualify. I would have to look at that. We've never done that. We've just done with
our asphalt because it's the most expensive thing that we do, and it's contractor.
Grandfathered ones.
Right. If we do our chip seals, that's force account work. That's a different type of application. It's a little bit tougher to work through. Bookkeeping wise on his end and Ann's end, this is very simple bookkeeping end because it's contractor work. They submit what they did, we pay it, and away we go. If we do force account, I gotta provide bids. For our annual bids, I gotta provide the guys hours of work. It gets a little more cumbersome on the backside, where this is very simple.
That makes it a lot easier on the closeouts too, when it's all said and done.
It's very easy to close out.
Everything is specific in the contract to the amount of money that we're paying for it, so it's pretty much cut and dry. So anything
Well-
we can do with those.
And I know on the match, when we don't spend it all, then we gotta put it back, and if you have different funds, it gets a little complicated on how you determine.
So this is a very simple process that's very successful. I do agree. I know what you're saying. And I can look into it. If you guys want me to, I'm happy to do that.
When do you expect the second call to be? Is it?
The second call's in July. Yeah, July.
Yeah, I mean, I know I would favor that.
So-
That's an easy one to go beg from my perspective, go beg for some more money whenever it's 75% paid for and it's roads.
And I'm happy, I can go before the council. I need to start probably start the legwork now with the council. We can find some more projects. I can definitely do that. Like I said, but I need to do it now. If you guys want me to do that, we gotta get started.
I think it's a good idea to
Approach the council, get their blessing, because I wanna get their blessing before I stick a bunch of legwork into it.
And if I was them, I would say, well, why wasn't it in your budget? You would say, they didn't change the rules till the end of the year.
Yeah.
So, or we probably would have hit you up to ask for it.
Yeah.
In June. Okay, what we have next, the surplus equipment?
Okay, so yes. So the recorder's office got the new plotter that you guys just did a service agreement for. Their old plotter, she asked me, and it's still in good shape. It cannot be on the server because of the operating system. I have the ability to direct connect it to my computer, so it worked out good. So the plotter still has a lot of worth to me. So I brought it over to the highway department. I have an old plotter from 2012. We paid $3,700 for it. The pins no longer work. I have to buy new pins, and the ink is hard to come across. It's actually, I tried to buy ink 3 times and they've all been expired. So I have a hard time finding new ink for this plotter. I'm asking to get it declared as surplus. I don't think it has any use, any worth. I just want to get rid of it.
GovDeals.com.
I was thinking,
GovDeals.com.
Yeah, I don't even think we'll get anything out of it. It's 12 years old, electronic equipment. So.
I'd be happy to declare it surplus, but just for the heck of it, check the sold things on there, see if there's any broken down models that, seriously, I mean, I do that on eBay occasionally.
Well,
I'll say,
and
what does a broken version of this cost?
somebody might give a couple $100 for it because they need a certain part off of it that they can get.
You wanna experiment, go right ahead.
I mean, I'm not asking you to spend any more than 10 minutes going to GovDeals, whatever, the guy was here and say, type in that, sold, if any of them junk ones sold for that, great.
Out of the junk.
So, because it's surprising, some items have, whatever. So I'll move that we approve declaring the plotter that was purchased in March of 2012 as a surplus item to be disposed of.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay.
Somebody might buy it and then consider it like our other dirt loader.
That's
Hard
right.
out.
I doubt it.
Put it in the cemetery. All right.
All right, last thing is federal aid. I know Chad and I have had a lot of discussions about federal aid projects. I would like to develop some and get some. I know that he would as well. So with federal aid projects, it's not just something we pull out of the thin air. I think we need to sit down as a group, Steve, you guys, even a couple of people from the council, because ultimately they're gonna have to fund this stuff as well. And create some capital improvements. Whether, I know Chad and I had to sit down, we sent a couple emails with some projects. But I think it's better if we can all get in a room at the same time, whether we do it after a commissioner meeting, whether we come to the office and do it there. Doesn't matter to me either way, however you guys want to do it. I know with being honest, and this would be making decisions, so it would be a public meeting. It'd be better to do it up here, but we probably would do it after lunch, reconvene. I know everybody's work schedules, I get it, so
But there's just more than saying, hey, let's just do this project and go run. I'd like to have set projects where I can get some budgetary numbers set aside and go. Then once you guys are saying, yeah, then I can approach the council, because 20% match on a $5 million project, pretty expensive, pretty quick. But it's over a 5-year plan. Most of the normal federal aid is a 5-year process. The ones that Chad had asked me about before, I think were a 3-year process. They're all different time frames, but there's a lot of money, a lot of things. I think we need to get moving on those. Steve and I have been holding off because of Mid-State's really proceeding with it, and Chad made a comment, we don't know where that stands. That could go at the earliest date, 8 years, maybe 12. So, but we need to get started doing some blade work.
For example, there might be a road, 400, we'll say, probably could use improvements, regardless if Mid-States comes through or not, but we could put that one there in preparation for Mid-States, and if it doesn't, then it's a road that could use improvement anyway. Future development, and it's a well-used road. And as far as having a meeting, I know our schedules, would you be available for a 45-minute lunchtime schedule in a couple weeks or something, or in a week?
I can usually make some time work over lunch.
Okay.
So I would say, if you want to set up a date, or set up one of those calendar things where, hey, choose one of these 3 dates, and whoever can make the most of them, we'll.
Because I would personally would prefer it be the same day as the commissioner meeting. Because that way you guys it's already advertised. We're already convened. We can drop back and go eat lunch, or do it over lunch. That's fine too. We can bring lunch in. I don't care, but I think we only do sit in a room, hash this thing out, and go. But in my opinion, the commissioner meeting days is the best days to do it.
I'd be okay with doing it at the next meeting. We'll set 45 minutes of it up at 10 a.m.
Sure. Do the what now?
I think we need to, maybe not 10 a.m. I got paid.
Or, I mean,
yeah, I
sometimes.
understand, but I'll figure. But I think it's not gonna. I really don't think it may take longer than 45 minutes, because we need to know plans. Hey, why this one? There's gonna be debating going on. Why this one?
Have it after commissioners meeting.
Yeah, and then you may say 400 North, you may say Ferdinand Road East, you may say Kellerville. We just that way we know which ones we want to do, organize them. I can come up with estimates then at a later time, bring them back. We can organize them even more, and then I can go forward.
Sending that list that you sent to me to all of
I
us.
can. That was just a off the cuff start. Yeah.
At least that gives people a thought.
So what does federal aid project mean?
They're usually for your big capital improvement plans, for your transportation plans.
So like when you did Kentucky Street.
Kentucky Street with federal aid. Yep. Yes. That's
So if we wanted to put a bridge over Patoka somewhere new.
Yeah, that could be another one, because we don't have an Arcane bridge to do a whole new bridge of that magnitude.
We did Portsmouth.
Yeah, 400 North. The big one that I think is my number one personally is 400 North of 47th Street, going west to 550 Sportsman Club Road, and then going south. So all of our big truck traffic, if they're going west out of 56 or going north out of 231, they can get around. Stays out of Jasper. Yeah, creates a bypass.
Do they now currently go into Ireland?
They do. There's more traffic doing that than probably what should be happening. And originally we had talked about going into Ireland, but down to 500. Then you're sending traffic out of one populated area into a smaller, harder, public area. So, or residential area. So we run out 550 and then run south. I think we're opening ourselves up. The other one I was thinking is Jasper DuBois, because of the amount of traffic and heavy trucks coming in there. There are some sections that are pretty narrow. It may not be necessarily relocating the whole road, but widening it, shoulders, things like that. So those are just 2 projects off the cuff that I've been thinking about.
Schnellville Road is coming to mind.
Schnellville Road's another one.
A main thoroughfare for.
And you're running through Schnellville, and that's, so those are just examples that we probably
You
need to
have
get
those
around.
examples listed in the email or something?
And Chad and I, we had spitball. Him and I were talking. I shot a bunch of them out.
Send that to us.
Yeah, I can send that to you.
Okay.
So.
And I assumed 400 heading east. Is
Yeah, that's another one.
The one that I liked because I guess probably I'm most familiar with it because I drive through there all the time, and I'm always visioning a new interstate quality road running through there.
And I think that's
that
yes.
road. That what I've been told is that's where an interchange can happen, and so you're gonna have a lot of people driving that way to get into Jasper.
Correct.
Yeah, no, I think we've got some options and it's something to look at.
Well, I think, I'm gonna change the subject here a little bit, it's time to do our lit ed plan too. And would this tie in maybe somehow?
It will some, yeah. Yeah, it will.
I know how much you love doing that, but.
What is that project called? Is it RISE? Not RISE, the new federal program.
Right. No, I was gonna say raise, but maybe
Raise,
it's rise.
maybe, anyway, there's just a lot of money getting put out. I thought we should grab a piece if we have a use for it, it's good for the community.
Like I said, those projects, well, I mean, I think we should have some council members invited too, because it's a significant investment they're gonna have to make. We're talking millions of dollars too, so now it isn't one shot at $1 million, but it's over a 5-year process, but still money.
So next meeting, you want to have a,
We can have whenever. If the next meeting is booked solid, then that's
it's
fine. We can-
not yet, but that doesn't mean anything.
Right, I was more thinking of a meeting, it's like when we had our first meeting in January, we didn't have a whole lot going on, we were done by 10:30. We could have went till noon and discussed all this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's only till 8:30 right at the moment, but
So, and maybe the next meeting would be the perfect one to do it on.
Just add it at the tail end. Basically, if people call in and say, I need to be on it.
well, I got a note to add it, and if it gets really full, then I'll let you know.
Then it goes to the next meeting.
Then it goes to the next.
And that's fine. I don't wanna keep kicking it down the street, but I still think it's not a true rush, but we do need to hammer this thing out. I don't wanna come up with a project and then Chad's like, yep, we're on board, and you're like, no, or vice versa. I wanna have the complete board, I wanna have a good plan started. We don't need a great consultant in here to do that. This is stuff we can definitely handle.
Did you hear Sandy's, and I think Commissioner Austin related too, that we'll put it on at
Yeah.
whatever, 10 o'clock, and if the agenda fills up and it's gonna push it to afternoon, then we'll move to the next meeting.
Perfect. That's fine. It really is.
You gotta know.
And then we'll, send an invite to, because we have one council member in attendance.
Can you bring that up at the council? Is there any way you can do that? Yeah, I can come in if you want me to, but if you don't mind.
Sandy. Could we put him on, is the next council agenda getting full?
I don't have the council agenda with me.
I mean, could we possibly throw him on toward the front of it there, if we start at 4:30 for a few minutes or not?
I probably have people on till 5 or 5:15 already.
Okay.
I mean,
Does that mess you up, Brent?
It does, but I can look at my calendar. I'm getting full on Monday nights, so I got wrestling. I can figure something out.
Sandy and I can probably get a rough idea started and then see who we want to come to the next commission.
And it doesn't need to be everybody, but that way you guys have got a plan.
Absolutely.
You guys are in the know. I don't want to bring their plan to you guys and like, whoa.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
well, even if I can, maybe we can have you just call in or something.
we can do that too.
We'll see.
'Cause, yeah,
Actually, when's the next meeting here?
Monday.
Is ours next Monday? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've got elementary
Well, it's the
wrestling that I'm in
29th.
charge of.
It's not,
So-
it's the 29th. Your meeting is the 29th.
That's like 2 weeks away, yes. I mean, is it the commissioners meeting that morning?
No.
Same day?
No, they're not till.
This is their last January meeting.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
okay,
not till
sorry.
February.
I forgot, 2 in a month, yes. Okay.
Like I said, there's a lot of counties that get consultants on board to develop these things. I think we can do it in-house and take care of getting things
Well,
organized.
at both of these, at least the 400 heading west is an idea that we've looked at in some detail previously.
Yeah.
So this comes to the next.
It's not a brand new idea.
Right. So that's all I got.
Okay, so you'll work on getting it on the schedule
Yeah.
and coordinating with council.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. Anything else for Ms. Well?
Yeah.
And next up, we have the Purdue Extension Services Agreement, our MOU. We get this every year, and there's a set amount. The amount that is on there has been budgeted, so I'm satisfied to move forward with it.
9 o'clock.
I think it is not.
Mr. Oster, thoughts?
So just put 9 o'clock down?
Yeah.
Mr. Stefano?
What's the amount? What's the amount?
128, 128,000 something?
9 or 10, I can't remember what I do.
You can let me know.
Okay, you want to? I have like 17. I got like
We used to pay
I'll
for
recycle
three and a
it.
half educators, and now they've
a
dropped
few
it
of them.
on, so we don't have to pay for Lisa anymore. So that's what
So I
it
think
costs.
last year was under 32, this year's 120.
Because Lisa was on a quarter of her time or something.
I'll move that we approve and sign the services agreement.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. We would believe Mr. Stepson lets Du Bois Strong and grow Du Bois County agreements up in front of her there.
I do.
And do you have any questions, thoughts, concerns on those, or do you need time to look at them?
No, I haven't even looked at it. So,
Would you like some more time?
yes, but I think someone is waiting on us out in the hallway.
No, he's in here now.
Mr. Rhodes?
Greg, I got this 2020,
Oh,
this was adopted by both, they don't need it back or
We'll do
anything,
that.
right? Council did it, and commissioners, it was the joint interlocal.
in an effort not to keep anybody else waiting, let's go ahead and do this next part. So we've got an employee that we're going to give a service award to. Mr. Rhodes has it for us. I don't know how long you've been waiting, but however long it is, I apologize.
Sorry.
Hi, how are y'all doing? Yeah, all right, so Katie is the coroner, and previously you were a deputy coroner. So must have started in 2014.
Yeah, Bob Beach, yeah.
Mm-hmm, under Bob. And so, got any highlights over your 10 years? No.
That's probably good, I think.
Yeah. So
I
no.
enjoy doing it, I have to say that, yeah. I'm glad that I ran, so I'll run it again next time here, so.
So good. You know, you'll get another 4 years hopefully, and you'll get to continue the work that you do. But Commissioner Bramas, I believe, started this process of just recognizing people at 10-year increments, and we just want to make sure that everybody is aware of the dedication that people put into the work that they're doing here, the care and passion that they have for it, and you definitely have that. So we just want to say thank you and present this to you. So January 1st was your actual date.
Yeah.
Because is that?
I think that's when I got on foot with Bob. I was a volunteer and then I was put on full-time after that, so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And congratulations on that. And
Get your
all three. 1, 2, 3. Right.
Excuse me, hang on 1 minute. There we go. Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
You're welcome. Thank you. What do you guys think about her career, part of her career? Proud of her.
Exciting, very much so.
Great, isn't it?
Very proud, yeah. Big time. Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks for all you guys.
Thank you again. I apologize for keeping y'all
Oh,
waiting.
it's no problem. Thanks. Good year. Happy New Year.
Same to you. It's, it is difficult, I suppose, to say a highlight of the job. I guess you either like that kind of, that's something you're interested in, or you're not. So. But we have good people to do it. They want to do it. So.
Your signatures are on here.
I believe it just had just a single spot on that one. So are you familiar with how this works, or do you want us to discuss the Du Bois Strong situation?
Yes.
So every year they come in and they request a budget. And for the last couple of years at least, the budget has been static, pretty much. Commissioner Oscar, if I'm wrong, let me know. It's been pretty static. There's a one that is our base amount that we give. Each cities and towns give a certain amount. We give a certain amount, and that's the larger of the amounts. So it's a state requirement of the commissioners to have do economic development work within the county. And Du Bois County historically, at least since this was started as the Du Bois County Area Economic Development Corporation, has given funds each year for them to do this work for us. The secondary pot there is, how much is it, $40,000?
That's 40,000 on one and 59,000 and change on the other.
So the 40,000 was at the request of a previous council that they wanted that money to go only towards projects. So the first $59,000 could go towards pay, employee pay, advertising, events, but the other one is only supposed to be for projects.
So it's Du Bois County, Du
But I
Bois
think
Strong,
you're-
and then Grow Du Bois Town is 40,000.
Right. Grow Du Bois County is the smaller of the two.
I thought you were football.
And so this, so really at this point, I think all,
Budget 100,000.
I think all we really do is we could sign these at this point. If we aren't happy with it or we want to do things a different way, that would be something for budget season. Because we've already approved these funds. This is just kind of formalizing that contract. The one thing I noticed when I read through there, some of it seems a little, the old way of doing economic development. And I know that I think it's probably just because they use the same contract every year and it doesn't get looked at. I don't think that the Du Bois Strong is doing things the same way that this actually says. But anything that we would want to ask from them, if we want to help try to get them to go to work, we just have to make those make those things known. I've been on the board now for a little over a year and trying to give my input and work through it. But anything that either of you have that you'd like brought up, please do. Or if there's a project that we want them to help us with, we can bring that up as well.
There's a list of things here.
So I guess the way I read these, the old model of economic development was bring us the next Toyota, bring us the next Kimball, and then people will follow. And for the last 6 years, really, economists say it's the other way around. You want to have a place that people want to live, and then the jobs will follow. So the way this is written, to me, sounds like the old way of doing it.
People don't follow jobs, jobs follow people.
That's what they say.
That's the new saying.
And so project focus on there, are we okay with that? Workforce development, broadband internet access, business retention, entrepreneurship. That's what it is for Du Bois, Grow Du Bois County. Let it fly for now?
Yeah, I think any discussion I'd want to have would be more of a budget season discussion.
That sounds fine with me. I think at this point, I'm fine with signing it moving forward. So I'll move that we sign the agreements for professional services.
One second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I believe they are all in good shape here. That's covered, baby, if you want that. Anybody have any comments on this anonymous letter we had?
No.
Next up, we have an appointment that I think was missed last year. I'll take the heat for that one because Diane Oaken Johnson's been on the board for 30 years and we went ahead and recognized her and I think once we recognized her, I just forgot that we needed to replace her because we recognized her a couple months prior to the end of her term and I just don't think I ever brought it back up, so I apologize to the board and to the tourism for that. So we have an appointment for the Du Bois County Tourism that we need to make. Does anybody have any suggestions for a appointment?
I do not.
I do not.
And I sent an email email with a person that was suggested to me. I had not talked to that person, so I didn't know how this was going to go. So I didn't, but I will. So if it's okay with the board, unless you want to bring something to me, I can offer it to this, or discuss it with the person. Or I can discuss it
You
with
offer
them.
it kind of preliminarily, I don't know, I don't have anyone in mind, but just in case somebody would reach out before our next meeting and say, hey, I'd be interested in serving there.
Sure, I'll say, seems like it'd be likely you'd be appointed, and you'll have my support, but someone else may do it, so I'll ask the auditor's office to prepare a updated one of these that's dated for our next meeting, and we will do it appointed then. Does that sound good?
So you're gonna do it for the November 5th meeting?
Whatever.
February, sorry.
Right.
You threw me for a loop there.
Sorry, I'm,
Just typing something else.
yeah. Trying to do
And
two
if,
things at once.
yes, okay, I'll take care of that, that shouldn't be a problem. Okay, department head meetings,
So you want a blank one to come back again?
that would be better.
Okay.
Department head meetings, I guess we will have what do we do those usually quarterly? Does that sound right? And so I think it would probably be Commissioner Stefano's turn to run one of those. So I just wanted to bring it up for that it needs to be scheduled. Last one we had was in November.
Can I get with Marky before we schedule that?
Yeah, that's fine with me. Just, I think they usually have them on a Wednesday at 8 a.m. It's been held in this room or downstairs, and we had it at 4-H, whenever these rooms weren't available. So yeah, just something
I
to,
will get with you and get with Sandy.
April and October are always booked, that room downstairs is always booked because of the election, so. Early voting. That's true.
so if we do them quarterly, maybe end of February would be a fine time to do it. The only things that I was thinking of that I know of as a topic at this point would be we need to have some kind of a plan on furniture and inventory and just ensure that each office understands how that process works. When's the last time we actually looked at we have an inventory.
We have that guy that comes around every so many years.
You want to see, you spot check to see if items are where they're supposed to be? Like if he says, oh, your office is supposed to have 5 desks, and goes in and looks at them? or-
Well, actually, everybody should be doing that every year when they turn in their inventory.
I agree they should. Okay.
But, I mean, we have to pay that guy to come and, I don't know, that Lynn takes care of that item.
Commissioner Hostetter, do you have any miscellaneous items?
I do not.
Commissioner Stefano?
I just had a couple of questions. I went through the email from Sherry from Matrix. Okay. Are we gonna go ahead with that starting February? with
Well,
that?
they can get an engineer on it, they'll take about an hour to do whatever they have to do to make this work. If we don't, we may not get emails. I think this is pretty much a nationwide thing. I mean, I got notice from this from the Indiana Office of Technology as well.
Okay.
Do you know something about it that,
No, I was just,
I just wanted to bring it to your all attention, if you hear something, that we're gonna go ahead and get this scheduled.
so what happens to the spam folder? Is there something in particular, are things gonna start going to spam and
You have
everybody?
that now.
Right. Do we have to pay closer attention to the spam folder that?
Well, every day I get an email from Barracuda, which is our spam filter, and it wants you to go in there and look.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Okay, if you're missing something, you can go in there and look. You have your spam filter
Right,
on Office
right.
365, but then you have the Barracuda filter that sends you an email saying, hey, you've got stuff here.
Okay.
You can go out and tell it yes, no, whitelisted, whatever.
Okay. I wasn't.
Because there are
aware
some from the
of that.
state even, I think, that came down that got sent over there. You can kind of check mark that, go ahead and deliver this one.
I think I get my email around 2:30 or 3 in the afternoon or something. It'll come through and say, you've got something out here, go check it.
I mean, I'm aware of spam, but I didn't know if it,
Yeah, it's an email from Barracuda.
gotcha, okay. All right, that's all I need.
I do have some surplus items.
Anything else? Mr. Stefano, you
No,
sit down?
I'm good.
Mr. Schneider?
I do not.
Okay, then we have a couple other items here.
I have some surplus chairs. There's a chair and a desk riser. They tell me it's broken on the 3rd floor. There's a chair and a table in the recorder's office, and there's a council desk and a 2-drawer cabinet. When I say council desk, it's what the council used to meet in before we got this, and 2-drawer cabinet in the clerk's office.
So I've looked at all these items, and I agree that they're fine to be declared surplus. I know the clerk and the recorder have sent the items out by email, which is our normal method to see if anybody wants anything. Some of the items have been taken with what is remaining. The chair and the riser on the 3rd floor, the riser broke, chair is not worth having. So I'd be satisfied to get rid of them unless somebody has a alternative.
If you're satisfied, I guarantee.
Yeah, okay.
We're okay with it too.
Yes, okay, then that's a funny point. I like that. I'll move that we approve declaring these items surplus.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Do you want me to reach out to them or do you tell them?
I can tell you.
Thank you.
Usually I tell Scott to get rid of this crap.
Simple,
Scott, put these on Gov Deals.
simple.
Yeah. I'll have to write that, discuss the
Job description, he's our Gov Deals guy.
Yeah.
Anything else from the highway department? Yeah. Anything
I
from
do want to
public?
let y'all know the budget order did come last week, Friday, so we are now having an approved budget order.
Great. One item.
The only thing I'd say while we're talking about government surplus or governmentdeals.com, if we need to probably really do a little research before we put any big ticket items on. You know, I purchased a $40,000 piece of equipment 3 years ago in an online auction. I paid a 5% buyer's premium with a $1,500 max. So I paid $41,500 for it.
Mm-hmm.
The 12% is way too high for high dollar equipment that he was asking for. There's other sites I'm sure we could much cheaper on.
I'm sure they
Yeah,
do,
just
I'm sure
something,
they do that.
you know, smaller items or whatever, maybe there's some benefit for, you know, the governmentdeals.com or whatever. Maybe there's some other marketing that goes with that site that maybe it is a good deal, but we need to research before we start putting big ticket items on.
But what would be our downfall on that? Because that's a buyer's premium, so.
Anybody that's smart enough to buy stuff is gonna add that premium in and know what the total cost is gonna be. So if that buyer's premium is only 5%,
but
your net cost, I knew my net cost on when I did 40,000 was gonna be 41,500 on that equipment. If there was a 10 or 12% buyer's premium, that would have been another $4,800 roughly, almost $5,000. So I would pay $45,000 for that same piece of equipment instead of $41,500.
And you would have bid less.
But I
Yes.
understand that, but at the same time, if we're setting a reserve price or, I forget what he called the process where you approve the sale, then we still have the final say before we sold it anyway.
Absolutely, but I'm just saying, you're losing your top price. Your net price is gonna be less. Because
Well, we
people are
still
only
get our
gonna bid so
prices.
much.
They're gonna pay more.
Sorry.
So really, it's the buyer going to that site paying more for access to that.
I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is if we set something at, say, a $50,000 minimum and it sells, and we get $50,000, I don't care what that other guy pays in premiums. So, and if it doesn't
It's gonna be a less
sell,
likelihood that we get to our $50,000, right?
right, but if it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. I mean,
Your point is taken, I'm with you, because I go on collectible auctions and they have a premium for the seller and a premium for the buyer and a premium if you use a credit card. And so what do? I bid a heck of a lot less than I would have.
So I'm not trying to belabor the project or whatever, I'm just saying before we start using a lot of big ticket items, we need to maybe just do a little more research. Whatever, I'm happy to help, whatever.
And doesn't the highway department, isn't there another thing the highway department people use for those kind of items?
Purple wave.
And how do they charge?
I don't know, I'm not sure what happens.
Yeah, I would tell you.
My thoughts on that gov deals is the little obscure things that we want to get rid of, like, hey, we got 30 file cabinets. Nobody wants file cabinets. Put it on gov deal, get what you get for it. Somebody else comes, picks it up and hauls it away. You know, yeah, we win.
I just spent on big ticket, I might do a little more research.
I think what he said that their competitors are 15, he's probably talking about eBay. You're gonna pay even more than 12%
Well,
on eBay, but when you get to a certain level, like you said, eBay takes their fees down. So anyway, I agree with you. It's worth looking at.
It depends on who you're using. I mean, there's probably local auctioneers that can list online on like a high bid auction or something that could do better. I'm not sure what all is out there. But I think, you know, he's got a point too, that they've got a lot more bidders than what we might get if we hire a local guy that listed.
That's possibly right.
So,
But I think it'd be worth spending 10 minutes. I'll look at it, see what kind of items they got on there, what they go for.
probably gonna shop on there for a little bit, just to check it out.
But that would be neat, you know, like I said earlier today, you find a broke down something, that might be valuable to somebody else that needs those parts.
Well, your dirt loader,
Look how many desks.
Like
if
your
you left
machine,
your
you
dirt
just
loader,
retired.
somebody else might buy it to do exactly what you guys are gonna do with it.
Absolutely.
And when you're rid of it.
Yeah, it might be a good deal,
Yeah.
yeah, especially items, things like that only government surplus people be looking for.
Anybody else have any other business for today?
No.
All right, we'll close the meeting.
Anybody want to start my vehicle?
No,